Everyone on YouTube world, this is Enoch22 for Giggity Racing League. Tonight we've got some Xfinity racing at Iowa,
Iowa.
and I've got two of my buddies, Taddy and Nannerbread. How you guys doing tonight?
Nana Brad has the sexiest voice in all of broadcasting, just so
Uh-oh, here
everyone
we
hears
go.
it.
There we go, there we
Off to a
go.
strong start.
Oh man. Well, actually, before we get into the formalities, let me go blue screen, join this race. We're gonna do something a little special. Uh, get to go around the track a bit.
Alright, so
And
when
I'm
we're blue
joining in there
screen, Enoch,
now.
yeah, when we're blue screen, Enoch can still talk and they can hear
Yeah.
him. They just can't hear us, NRG.
Okay.
Yep, so I'm back. I'm in this lobby here, going to Iowa, Xfinity cars. Just to give you guys a little background about this race, for those that may be watching, it's a special race. It really drives in deep with Robbie Vids. Um, Robbie Vids is a strong racer, and not only is he strong himself, but from talking to him, it sounds like he's got an extremely strong and brave daughter. We're racing tonight for a charity for G.O.S.H. G.O.S.H is just an acronym for Great Ormond Street Hospital Children's Charity. So it's the Great Ormond Street Hospital, Children's Hospital in the UK. Robbie Vids is in the UK, and I don't know if you want to pause it now and then, or
No,
wait to
you
see.
just go right into it and then
Oh
back
yeah,
out as soon as you
oh
get
yeah,
All
there.
right, yeah.
yeah, we
All
can
right,
do
I'm
that.
gonna
Otherwise,
pause
I'll
it.
reset the timer.
That sounds good.
I'll let you know when the loading screen pops up.
Perfect.
All
All right,
right,
I'm
you're
gonna
good to back
back out
out.
of it now. And I'm blue screen now, so yeah, just a little bit more about that. I saw someone join. It's probably one of you guys, right? But for those, all right, now it's not gonna do it. That's all right. I'll just ride around here with you.
Get in, and then
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you get to where
All right.
for drivers, you can back out.
and
Sounds
then
good.
when you join back in, I'll just coast around track until you get back in.
Okay.
So yeah, you should be able to back out now.
Yeah, I think it is.
And then let me know when you're back in.
All right. All right. So yeah, so back about Robbie Vids and his extremely strong daughter. Um, so his daughter, I believe she's 4 years old currently, and she was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. It's a condition that pretty much means that half of her heart is working, and it's tough to think of someone having that much willpower and strength, and with half a heart. That just shows with a whole heart what she can do. And they learned about this on Christmas Eve in 2015, and they they decided surgery. So think about it, young child, and that's very serious. And having a first open heart surgery at 4 days old, and a second open heart surgery at 3 months, and she's still just a very. He said she's lively, she's smart, she's a great girl. And I'm watching Nana right now, going around Iowa, but it's just impressive, and it really shows what love can do. But not only that, so again, this charity that he's got is for the hospital because of how they were with his daughter, how much love they put into it, and I think it's special. So hopefully everyone watching, if you look up Robbie Vids, we'll get his name in here a little later on. You can find his YouTube, and I'm sure he's got a link in there. But it's nice to put that out there. But Nanner, I'm watching you go around the track. Looks like you're warming up those tires. Why don't you talk about Iowa a bit in these Xfinity cars for us?
Hey, make sure to pit so they can see how hard it is to get on pit
Yeah,
lane.
absolutely. So yeah, there's gonna be, you're gonna see guys all over the place tonight on this track. There's really three ways to get around here. Really two of them once you get tires worn. We'll get started here. We get off turn 4. I think this first line I'm gonna run here, you're gonna see most guys try to run this. You really got to arc it into turn 1. Let off a little early, get on the brakes. Not too heavy. Let it coast down there and you can get right back into it. Drift back up the track. Pretty simple right there. And then you're going to see some guys try something a little different. You're going to see guys trying to run the high line tonight, and I'll probably completely slaughter this. We'll see. You
So
really got to let off a lot earlier if you're going to run this high line. But it is fast on exit. You get a lot of exit speed off 2 and 4. You will see guys run this, but you have to have a car that's specifically set up just to run this line. If you have a car that's used to running down at the bottom, you are not going to be able to run that line very long.
so
I mean, you can kind of bounce around.
so Nano, I got a question for you, man.
What's going on?
What slider do you start on, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, just because I'm not using any tire wear in this run,
Right.
I'm just running a preset 8.
Preset it.
The
Yeah.
guys, I think, are going to be running anywhere from a 4 to a 6 starting off tonight, and then adjusting from there. I did make a small run on a 6. You really have to baby the car to keep that right front tire from going before you run out of fuel. But yeah, so once we get one more lap here, when we get down pit road, which it sneaks up on you in a hurry, we do get some green flag pit stops, which I think we will tonight. I think you're going to see some penalties, especially if you're in traffic. Obviously, you're going to want to give everyone the universal signal, run down at the bottom.
Right.
And, right there, I messed it up. So, it's already popping up on my screen. I'm coming down pit road, and that yellow line, man, you got to get down to speed without drifting back up on the track, wrecking everybody else.
Another thing too is you could, you want to get down there, but what if you get on the brakes while you're turning left, and all of a sudden you clip the wall and it just grabs that front bumper, swings you around, like that could
Well,
happen too.
Well, that too, and you could go from a normal pit stop, and with damage being on in all of our series now, you could go from a regular, 14 to 16 second pit stop to easily over a 20-second pit stop. So,
Yeah, man.
a lot of things could go wrong getting on the pit road. Hopefully, these guys have been practicing getting on and off, because if you got a loose car, it's obviously going to be loose, coming off pit road. You come back up. It didn't really get too wonky on me, but you're going to have to watch, traffic coming behind you. You don't want to drive up into somebody going slow. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and back out of this. And we can get ready to talk about picks and what we think is going to happen tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, what you were talking about with pit road, we're gonna see the results from qualifying in a second here, right? But what is that really gonna mean? Could issues cause the quickest guy to not win? Is it going to be strategy? Is it going to be raw power and speed from these guys? We're going to find out in a few. I believe we're still waiting to go into the race, right? But we'll be getting there soon. Take a look, maybe get to see some lap times in a sec. But do you have any picks so far?
Oh man, it's
Do you
tough.
know who's racing yet? I got a list here who's racing. I can just give
Yeah.
names and
Well, we got pretty much the same guys that raced Thursday night at Texas, and I tell you what, we did have some fun in the booth that night. And then the racing, it took literally until the last bit of the race for strategy to really come into play. These guys took the last green flag with, I think, about 18 laps to go, which left them about 2 laps short on fuel. And the guys that were running out front pretty much most of the race, it ended up, it messed them up. There was a couple guys that started in the back there that were on the lead lap. They saved 2 laps of fuel, and 2 out of the top 3, that's what they did. They got, in the top 3 just by saving fuel. Everyone else had to pit. So we might see strategy tonight. I think, especially if we get a long green flag run at the beginning,
yeah.
you're going to see guys pitting for tires before you see them pitting for fuel. If you see an early race caution, you're going to see the guys put in their adjustments right away, not even think twice about it. And, and then we're going to really see who has what. But if I had to, sitting here looking at the list, there was a couple guys. I mean, let's see. Golf, he finished second or third Thursday night. And one guy who ran up front a lot of that race was he gone first.
Yeah, he actually has
So,
pole. I'm
oh,
looking
did
at
he get
Robbie.
pole?
I'm watching Robbie's broadcast right now, and it looks like he gone. That's what I'm gonna say. He gone. I
Yep.
like that.
So,
But he gone. He going
um,
first. He is gonna start first.
it's hard for me to pick against my teammates and stuff, but I'm gonna, not be biased here and just go out on a limb, and that'll be my pick for tonight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be biased or anything either, and ditto to what you said, but I'm going with Taddy. I think Taddy's got a good car. I
Taddy's
like
not
I like the
racing.
Taddy. Oh, that's right, Taddy. Man, you qualified with him. So I already
Sorry, that
lost.
just made me happy. Yeah, no, I like it. I'd go with Taddy too. That's a
I
good
would go
pick.
with Taddy. I would go with Taddy. I like. I'm going with my. I am gonna be biased. I'm going with the underdog racing. I don't care. Commentators shouldn't be, but initial, I'm gonna say that. I'd like to see what cars do on the track and who to pick.
As you say that, I'm actually looking. Golf Nut is the highest placed uh, underdog driver. He qualified 10th. That will be ninth, as I will be backing out of this lobby, So he qualified in ninth position, and that'll be the highest of the highest of the four underdog guys. So they have their work cut out for them tonight for sure.
That's
It's a
okay.
little surprising, actually. I got to qualify with him, and Matty was right there on my tail for a long time. And I qualified, sixth, I think it was, but Matty was right behind me, and he qualified 17th. So I guess when I pitted for the adjustments and his adjustments that he made just didn't pan out as well for him.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking is I want to remember this moment, right, for the end of the race to see if those qualifying positions are really going to translate to a strong or weak finish. Sometimes there are drivers that really like or have the time, not necessarily like it. We all have our lives, but who can focus on getting a good qualifying run. Or other guys that are like, you know what, I really want to hone in my racing setup. So we'll see. We'll see if any of those drivers can get moving. But for those of you out there in YouTube world that the Giggity Racing League series is that the admins thought of a great way to identify cars on the track because as many of you know, we're all one big league and then it's broken down into series and it's broken
We
down
got
into
10
teams as
seconds.
well. And nice.
Real
So
quick, real quick.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
down to 5 seconds on the
You want me to
timer.
send you an
NRG.
invite when I get in?
No, I do not want you to. I want NRG to, so you don't have to blue screen.
Oh yeah, that works.
And you guys can accept those invites right now.
All right, so
Okay.
we're gonna go. I'm gonna go blue screen for a sec, and I'll continue to explain all that stuff as well. But so yeah, a way to identify the cars that are on specific teams in Giggity Racing League are their numbers. And what's great, so the car numbers 0 through 9, they're part of Larson's team. 10 through 19, who's that? Roofer? No, that's not Groot. Oh, yeah, why couldn't I figure that out? So plant, life as a plant, 20 through 29 is RJM, 30 through 39 Underdog, 40 through 49 is Noco, 50 through 59 are the Canucks.
I'm excited. I love this track so much. I'm glad that now we're able to race this track with Cup. I enjoy that a whole lot on this game, but I enjoyed it a lot on Heat 3 as well. Definitely one of my favorite tracks on that game, and already one of my favorite tracks on this game.
Yeah, so I feel like there's a big difference between Heat 3 and Heat 4 for Iowa Speedway, man. That seam isn't um, as huge
They're
of a
underway.
deal, and it's nice to see. I'm still loading in here. I was blue screen for a little too long, focusing on those numbers, because
Oh, you're good, man.
I'm like that.
He gone first out here with an early lead. Now, mind you, this first section, until we see caution or some chance at a green flag pit stop, these guys will not be setting the blistering qualifying laps that they had, as they'll be unable to make any adjustments. All these guys are on an equal playing field at the beginning of the race, as they are all on a straight preset.
So
Wow.
far, so clean. We're also 60 laps in the first stage, and we are getting ready to come to lap 3. So long first stage, but the longer this goes on, they're gonna click away in a hurry.
Yeah, I agree.
23 to 24 seconds a lap is what I was hitting when I was running earlier, and I qualified sixth, so that's about the same ballpark as the rest of the field here.
And these guys got me nervous already. A lot of them are exiting middle of the track, and after a few laps with the wear, you're not going to be able to exit the middle of the track. Not with your standard preset. It's going to start getting snappy loose. Sort of like what we seen at Texas off turn 4 Thursday night. You're going to see that off of turn 2 a lot if these guys try exiting low. You want to exit either low or high. Right there, perfect example of the 23. He gone first, sideways in the middle of the turn.
Wow, and you know, there goes our fastest driver in qualifying, spinning around a bit, maybe really trying to push it too much. He could have been one of those guys that really focused on qualifying, but you know, running some laps, it's early on. There's no caution. We'll see what happens. I thought those first few laps opening this race were pretty impressive. What's good? This is a nice wide track, and Nanas, man, you were mentioning before how there could be guys running the bottom, running the top, and I think it's already showing.
Yeah, and here we go. I feel like I'm jinxing things again. You know, Thursday night, every time I thought, there was going to
Don't
be
mention
green
pit
flag pit
stops.
stops, yep.
Don't do
Every
it.
time
He
cautions
did.
came out. So, as soon as I mentioned someone running the middle line on exit off 2, the second I mention it, someone spins around. You're going to
Yeah.
see that quite a bit. The Eternal Rest and some of these other guys back here
Golf
beating
nut.
and banging.
Yeah, golf
Yeah, I'm
nut.
watching
58.
Golf Nut. I went back to the back here. Like I said,
They're
Golf Nut
three
was the highest
wide, three
qualified
wide.
position. They're holding it pretty good, not giving each other a whole lot of room, but at the same time giving each other plenty of room. As this track has 3 distinct grooves. Again, like you said, Nick, a little
Look at
different
these
than
guys.
Heat 3, as Heat 3 had a seam in the middle groove that if you hit it, it just spun your car out every time.
Yeah.
The Heat 4 did a good job of getting rid of that. However, it's still very tricky to run in the middle.
Yeah, it is, especially when you're three wide, but they did a good job. And I'm sure there's no bad feelings just yet. They're testing the waters, seeing what's up, and trying to figure out what to do to the car, how the car should run. But things have spread
Uh,
out pretty damn far. They're on their 8th lap right now.
Yeah. And
Real quick,
yeah,
big
go ahead.
shout out to the YouTube people. We have RKM. He basically wanted to say go Canucks as well as the energy. You have such a sexy voice. RKM, I
Ooh,
agree with you
that's
completely.
my dad.
Get
Tommy,
it, dude.
Tommy Armor Boy, out here cheering for Hegon. Maybe he's started P1, Tommy, so I guess he's got as good a car as anybody else.
I think caution's out.
Yeah, I
Jake
agree.
is the leader, and it's wild that
It's all on the
Jackson
start
Strong
finish.
was strong all night Thursday night. Really could use a good finish here tonight, and I look for him to be strong too. Same thing. Bad for you. I race with him quite a bit. He's always really good, especially on these default races. So there's a strong field tonight. A lot of cut material in this series for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to see who falls back here after pit stops. You know, our leader, he gone first, started first. He had that issue. I was looking at his car, looks pretty damaged. He's gonna have to repair that. Hopefully he can get the car running as well as it was before. So he most definitely will be falling back, and it looks like he's probably in about 14th position or 13th position here.
All right, we're gonna do this again.
Jake has got the lead with the 14 Trey to his outside.
Man, Trey had a really good showing on Thursday night. Now, these are separate points to anybody that did check out our Thursday broadcast. These points are separate. As tonight, starting next week, we'll be running 2 races every Saturday, whereas Wednesday is one 100% race. We had a little bit of rules change, so because of that, we were trying to get everything underway, get everything running smooth. So instead of doing the 2 races, we dropped it down to 1. I see he gone in the grass. Him and Maddie make some contact. Sorry. So we made a little bit of rule change. So tonight's a 100% race, but starting next week again, 2 races, 50%. So these points are separate, but all the Xfinity drivers are able to drive in both series for points, a little extra seat time. As you'll see some drivers that you don't see on Thursdays, such as Bad For You is in the field tonight, one of our top 5 in points. Ed Tho, a top 5 guy in points tonight. Tonight series, the Saturday Xfinity will have a playoff, whereas Thursday night racing is old school points. It's just whoever has most points at the end of the season is the champion.
I like it. Thanks for the explanation, all that. And Thursday night, man, I was in that race, and I wasn't doing that great. But I'm more of a strategy guy, and I wish I could have been able to do something with that. There's a caution. I went to go join a party. I got back. I hit the freaking circle button instead of X.
I kind of forgot.
I hate
Yeah, I
that,
do
man.
remember that now. I forgot about that until you just said it.
I hate that. I'm not a
I
rage quitter.
remember.
I knew I wasn't in. Yeah. So
I cried a little bit. Keep in mind, Enoch is one of my drivers on
Oh,
Thursdays,
well,
so I cried a little bit.
it hurt because what you were saying about how strategy played a part, that would have been perfect for me, man. And how I felt too. My car was pretty good on the long run. I was playing around with the tires, and I had it moving at the end of a run. It was just at the beginning I couldn't go. I like that one where I started in first, and then I just fell back to like seventh before the lap even ended. I couldn't turn the freaking thing, but
Are we allowed to say that on air? Can you say frickin'?
frick, I don't
I'll
know.
allow it. We're good with it.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna say, if we're allowed to say I have a sexy voice,
Yeah, yeah. That's not a
All right,
swear
two
word,
touche,
is it?
touche. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Well, you know what? It's done. It's said and done. Yeah. But let's get back to the racing
PG-13.
here. It looks like it's spread out, but I think it kind of looks like a lot of these guys are migrating towards the middle and high line.
So
Yeah.
this game is epic on tire wear. I'm glad you mentioned that, Enoch. The tire wear on this game is absolutely horrible. Even though tonight we're running 2 times wear instead of the normal 3 times wear, the tire wear is still going to be very important on whether or not you can make a full fuel run without having a pit. And so the low groove is the fastest way around the track. It is also it'll save your fuel. However, it's also what's going to tear your right side tires up as the banking is all to the right of you. To minimize that, you drift up the track, save your tires, make it to the end of a fuel run, whereas others that are running the bottom the whole time might have short pit about 10 to 15 laps early.
Wow, yeah, we're going to see a lot of differences here.
Go back to what you were saying earlier, Taddy, about 2 different point systems and whatnot. We essentially have the same group of guys. So even though you might not be doing great in points in one of these series, whether it's Thursday or Saturday night, you win one of these races. I mean, that's definitely going to boost your confidence, and the next day, it's going to just make you feel better, more confident about what you're doing. So, obviously, you see a lot of the same guys running up front. Sometimes you just never know what's going to happen at the end of these races, and that
Yeah.
definitely showed Thursday.
To go with that a little bit more, for example, on Thursdays, Woodruff is locked in. He's in the top 5 in points. He's sitting 5th right now. At the same time, going into this race, Woodruff has 0 points. He's riding around in 3rd. You've seen him up front on Thursday. Any other broadcasts we've done on Saturday, you haven't seen him yet. Some people, here at Giggity, we try to help everyone the best we can with schedules and stuff like that, and not everybody can race every night, so these Xfinity group, we got Cup races 2 nights a week, we got Xfinity races 2 nights a week. Our trucks technically get 2 races, only one for points is Monday's truck night, and Friday is our development where our new guys come, show us what they got. During development, our truck guys are allowed to race it, so we kind of toss it up throughout the week where everybody gets to race more than one night. And if you can't, at least you got at least one night you can race for points.
Yep.
That's right.
And either way, you're getting experience. You're logging laps,
Completely.
and you could run the same track in a different league down the road, and you already have a head start on everybody else because you are. I mean, after tonight, these guys done 250 laps at Iowa, so.
So from what you guys are saying here, it's always take the good out of everything. Even how I was saying my Thursday night race, I was taking out of it. I felt like I had a pretty good long run car, and I could have started picking off spots, and as long as it stayed green. But I'm taking that with me, and my own constructive criticism of what I need to work on. And Nanners, you said it. At least it's experience. Even if you're not getting points, whatever, have fun with it. Meet some new people, race around guys that are across the country, and then even when we think about Robbie right here, he's over in the UK racing with us, and
Yep.
it's just nice to do, fun to go around in circles and be competitive.
Yes, sir. So, and I'm telling you what, they've ran more green flag laps right now than they probably did most of Thursday night. Everyone's pretty spread out. Jake pretty much checked out here.
I'm actually, with that said, I'm watching this battle here, Jackson. I believe it's for 4th place. I was talking about how the underdog cars didn't qualify very well, as Golf Nut was the highest up in 9th. Rebel Joker was 12th. Golf Nut is trying to pass Jackson for 4th, and right behind him is Rebel Joker. So the underdogs, kind of like what Enoch was saying, it might be a team aspect here in the Xfinity. You know, they might not be great on takeoff, but once it spreads out a little bit and they can pick them off one by one, they seem to have the long run cars here.
And it is hard to have a team aspect at a track like this. I mean, if you want to, try to keep the same pit strategy together, that's one thing. At the end of this race, that all goes out the window. And, for the guys that really need the stage points and playoff points and stuff, at the end of these stages, it's every man for themselves.
Yeah,
Oh,
it really
absolutely.
is. But so back to the whole team thing. Yeah, there's not much teamwork, but there's teamwork before race night. Practicing together, you can get 2 different things going. It's like, all right, let's run through a mock race. Let's figure out what we need to do. Let's figure out how much, how many times we need to stop in a run. Things like that could help you be able to have a strong finish. And okay, I'm gonna try this with my pit stop, or maybe at the beginning of the week, I'm gonna try slider 5 or 6. You try 7 or 8. Let's see what happens through the full run. And being able to work together as a team, it's like a catalyst for getting your results. It really brings you there, and it's a lot easier to work with multiple people than just being by yourself. But I'd like to see if it pays off.
I'm sitting here watching 12th through 14th on Robbie's stream, and I tell you what, Maddie, Balk for you, and Robbie they're just beating and banging off each other for the 12th position.
Let's keep in mind there is damage on tonight as well. So this beating and banging is doing nothing but slowing these guys down a little more. But again, like you were saying earlier, Energy, the side-by-side racing, the experience that they're gaining, not just this track, but future tracks, with each other right now. Like, it's so important, as everybody on the track right now is a series regular. Everybody's here getting points right now. It's early in the season, week 3 for these guys. Every lap you put next to each other will help you come the final race on knowing where to pass someone, other drivers' strengths and weaknesses. It's very important.
Yeah, and you're either going to win, the respect of somebody, or you're going to piss somebody off, and they might come back and return the favor. Well, I just did. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it.
But yeah, down the road, you might see someone return the favor, and obviously, I'm completely against retaliation. I might get heated in the moment, in the middle of the race, and within my team chat, I'll sit there and I'll be mad as hell at somebody, but I'm not the type of guy that's gonna, put someone in the wall over it. If I feel like I'm faster than them, I'm gonna pass them the right way, regardless of what they did to me. But other people, everyone has a different racing mentality, so. I don't want to see someone get blatantly taken out. But if, you want to rough someone up a little bit because they did it to you multiple times, I'm not completely opposed to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with that respect, and I'm the same way. I like to try and get the respect from the guys around me, because I'm the same way as you, Energy, where I'm not going to retaliate.
We got a taker on pit road already. Golf Nuts coming down pit road.
Looks like a few of the underdogs are going in. But I'm the same way with not retaliating, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to race you a little harder.
I like to plow everyone through all the way through the field.
There you go.
No matter what.
You cut down into the apron at turn 1 and just shoot up the track, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't do that, but I like driving into turns 1 and turn 3 is absolutely wide open. If there's another car on the outside of me, there's no reason for me to use the brakes. Hopefully everyone understands that I'm kidding, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused by this pit strategy here. We're at 23 laps to go. And these guys, when these guys pitted, they were probably anywhere between 9 and 11 laps of fuel left. And I'm telling you what, every time that I've short pitted so far in Giggity, it's ended up just screwing me over.
Don't bring it up.
I end up a lap down because as soon as I go down pit road, caution comes out. Somebody else a lap down that pitted with me.
Yep, he said it.
Well, the caution's coming out, I guarantee it.
No, actually, it's funny you say that. You get 28 to 30 laps of fuel here. So you said they pit with 9 or 10 left, which I think there was about 23 to 24 laps left in total.
They better have
That
long run
gives them-
cars.
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier. They all started in the rear, and they're only pitting about a lap or two before these guys. So unlike Thursday at Texas, where you didn't want to be an early taker because it would bring out cautions, now we're seeing by them pitting, they actually force the leader's hands as Jake is on pit lane now.
Yeah.
You know,
Road, yeah.
he can't give up that time. So at this point, that
Here
plan
comes
may have worked
Robbie.
out great for the underdog team as the leaders now pit, so they haven't lost that ground to him at least.
Well, you got to think too, with the different sliders, I've noticed that they make the tires wear a little differently, and you can have the right front get torn up, whereas you still got some life in the right rear. And one thing that I've been trying to do is when they're almost all the way worn, I want them to be equal. I try to get my right sides equal instead of one a little more than the other. So maybe someone was just burning up that right front, like our early pitters. Maybe that's why they had to pit instead of use up that extra amount of fuel they had.
And with
As
everything
Jake's
being
getting off the
stretched
road,
out
it's
now,
nice
I
split.
honestly think that, I mean, everyone. I mean, Jake just come off pit road,
And look who that is right behind him. Golf
I
Nut
see
is
that.
now right on his tail, whereas
That's
earlier
great.
we were talking he was about 10 seconds, or at least 5 to 6 seconds back as Jake had just checked out, and Golf Nut is right on him now.
Now you also got to realize that he pit 5 laps sooner, so I mean he's gonna have 5 laps on them tires more
Yeah,
than Jake.
Jake will be pulling off here shortly, but as far as for Golf Nut, going from, again, he was battling for 4th and 5th place on the track, and now he's sitting right behind when pit stops are finished, should be the leader, so he should be riding pretty in second with nobody behind him at this point in time.
Wow, Taddy and NRG, that's a great observation. If I were Golf Nut, I would take that as a small victory right there. That was really good. And yeah, Taddy, you're right, man. He really has been going through the field. And maybe that means I was right. You know, maybe he was focusing more on the race and not necessarily the qualifying. We'll see.
Either Jackson Strong had a lot of damage, or he got a pit road penalty, or both. Because I think he just sat on pit road for about half the stage. He just came off. He was sitting there for a long time, and he was running up at the front before that last caution came out.
Yeah, I just went to Trey, and Trey is in the middle of the backstretch right now, but I feel like he lost a lot of time to Jake, a little more time than was already between the two before they pitted.
Somebody hasn't pit yet, because I'm sitting here watching Robbie stream. He's a lap down.
Yeah, and he didn't have a bad pit, so
I'm not sure. Somebody hasn't pit yet, and I'm not sure exactly who it is.
Let's see who's super slow on track.
Yeah, that'll tell you.
Real quick, while you guys are searching for the leader, we have the likes of Michael Moore. I believe that's G9 Gamer. Him and I, we're good friends now. RJ Smitty, Plant. We have all you guys watching. Thanks for watching the broadcast. Also, Cumulative Census, as everybody else seems to be really loving your voice energy. Sorry, Enoch, they have not said a word about yours.
That's all right, man.
Enoc's the better commentator.
I don't need pity. I don't need the pity. It's okay. I appreciate it. I don't want the limelight. I don't want it. You can have it.
I'll say it on air. He's cute too.
Oh, jeez. Thanks. Did my mom tell
Things
you
are
to say
getting
that?
weird
My
up
mom
here.
told you to say that, didn't she?
No, but also shout out to Debbie, aka Gamer Mike's old lady.
That's Deborah.
Not side piece.
No, wife. Definitely a wife.
Yeah,
Enoch,
definitely
I don't know
wife.
if you watched
What
the broadcast
what am I
back, but-
missing, man?
So, this may or may not have happened on Thursday while you guys were
man.
racing.
Good
A
stuff.
female mentioned that G9, she was cheering for G9 Gamer and said, "Let's go, baby." And so I just questioned. I never heard him talk of this before mentioned Deborah. So I was like, hey, it's either your wife, your girlfriend, maybe possibly your side piece. Either way, she's out here cheering for you. I don't know why I said it. It was said. I cheered for G9
That's
the rest of the
hilarious.
race. He won it. All the beer he drank in celebration. Apparently he forgot. He's not mad at me anymore. Is real quick on the track now. Not to change subject or nothing, but let's change that subject. Golf Nut has now passed Jake. As we were talking about those 5-lap difference on fuel.
No way. There we go.
I was gonna say Robbie just got his lap back, I believe.
I think those
He's
two are
got
fighting
both.
for the lead.
Yeah, Golf Nut and Jake are both fighting for the lead, and You can actually, I could pull up his stream too. He's got a YouTube channel if you want to check it out. It's exactly his screen name, Jake Guru X24. Go check it out. Subscribe. One of the fast drivers, even though he's in Xfinity, he has been in a lot of cup races and has contended for pretty much a win in every race that he's been in so far. So, yeah, he's definitely fast. Check him out.
Oh, yeah, he is, man. I remember seeing him in a lobby once, and I was just thinking, who is this guy? Like, I
Get
haven't
back
seen
here.
this name before, but yeah, he's definitely been showing a lot of speed, a lot of strength, and that's pretty awesome. And it looks like the
Yeah, I mean,
lead
I
is
hate
going
to
back and
say this.
forth.
I hate to say this, but the number on the side of Jake's car, being a number 40 and in the 40s, you can tell he's fast. As Noco's team is just, they're annihilating this season. You know, they're doing a great job every time any of their cars hit the track. They're fast. But yeah, Jake, he's by far he's a Cup quality driver. You know, he's here in the Xfinity as each team only has so many slots in Cup. But I mean, the guy's doing a great job. And with all that said, you know, I can't say enough for my own driver here with Golf Nut. You know, pit strategy got him here. We all expected him to fall back. He's not falling
I
back.
know. Yeah.
He's right there competing, as well as Robbie Vids. He's on the
He's
verge of
fighting to
going
stay
a
on the
lap
lead.
down, and
And
he's
here's the
fighting
thing.
his tail off.
What do you think is going on here? Do you think Jake's trying to help keep him on the lead lap, or I mean, because I mean, Jake knows that Golf Nut pit at least 5 laps before, well, roughly 5 laps before he did. So I think Jake knows that on the long run he's going to be able to get Golf Nut. But I
So,
also think that he wants to make sure Robbie stays on the lead lap, which that to me that's teamwork.
yeah, but does he need to do that type of teamwork right now? I want to be first. I want to have this victory. There's not going to pass another car, it looks like. Where's the next car to go a lap down? He can get that waiver out, that lucky dog free pass.
Well, I'll
Robbie
tell you right
can.
now, we're got
'Cause,
to be coming to about 5 to go, and if that's the case, Jake could get around him. Robbie will still be the first car lap down, and yeah,
uh,
at that point he could just yeah. So we're coming at 6 to go. Well, 5 to go for the leaders.
yeah.
So
So
And if
actually,
anything, do you
there's
think the 43 should be blocking the 33? You know, give
absolutely.
40 the
If
open
I'm
night.
the 43, that's what I'm doing as team owner of Underdog. Please don't do that, Robbie. You know, another aspect here, though, like you guys both mentioned, is he helping Robbie maybe stay on the lead lap? There is a slight difference between getting the lucky dog and getting that being the last car on the lead lap. If you're the last car on the lead lap, you start behind the other cars on the lead lap. If you get the
Yeah.
lucky dog, you start behind every car in the field
Well,
on the
I
next
mean,
restart.
I'd rather help my teammate than put him in a position like if I was Robbie, I'd rather help my teammate and take that fall. He's in 13th right now. He'd fall to he'd fall 2 rows back, right, or
Yeah,
so.
oh yeah.
So that's
Is that
and it looks
stage?
like
I believe
that
that
is
was
the
the
that
stage.
was the
stage.
end. Did the caution come out?
No, I
Oh
think that
man,
was the end.
I
Was it a
believe
caution?
I believe that was the
I
end of
think
the
that's the
stage.
stage.
Yeah.
That had to have
Let's
been
see
right down to the end
who
of it.
got the top spot off that one.
Jake was definitely in the lead when they crossed the line. I
Yeah.
just
All
don't know
right.
if that was a stage or a caution.
There's the
I
results right
thought
there.
I gotta
Yep,
Shout
say,
Jake.
out to Grim.
Wow, Jake got second. So Golf
Oh,
Nut
Golf
wouldn't
Nut was
even.
the first car lap down.
I gotta say, all this talk about
Wow.
those three, and Robbie did an awesome job, though. I know I was saying I would have done a different strategy, but he showed a lot of strength. He found, I think by doing that, he's one of those guys that likes to be chased, and that's how he finds speed. Because he was falling back a little bit, he was finding himself, figuring out the track, and he was doing a great job keeping up with them. So that was pretty impressive.
That's crazy. Like we had absolutely no idea what was going on there. So yeah, Jake with the stage win, Trey second, no pit Pendle third. He gone. Your pole sitter fourth. Bad for you in the top 5. Woodruff sixth. Rebel Joker seventh. Etho eighth. Roofer ninth, and Diesel Chunk, who also had a good run Thursday night there for a while, rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, it looks like a
Yeah,
lot of
Diesel.
strategy was played.
If we remember right, Diesel on that 100% race there on Thursday, he actually lagged out right at the end, and he said he has a hard time with that, lagging out 100% races for some reason. So I hope it doesn't happen. You know, he always has a strong car, and hopefully he can stay here till the finish tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. The racing's been really good so far. I've been enjoying this. Jake's taking that lead.
Oh, we
and
got
it's
a wreck
nice to
down the
see.
backstretch.
Oh, why did I
Bad
say
for
anything?
you in the wall, Robbie in the wall, Golf Nut in the wall. Caution is out, it looks like.
So there had to have been some strategy being played there because we saw Golf Nut fall back, Pendle move forward, and now we see Trey making his moves again. He always impresses me with restarts and getting through the field. I'm gonna actually follow some guys that are towards the back and see if anyone can make some moves. I'll follow Bad for You.
Jackson Strong is going to get the wave around here, or the lucky dog. Now he's back on the lead lap. I'm telling you, I really like that guy. I think he's quick on the in these Xfinity cars. He's definitely shown he can hang up front. So I think he'll work his way up through here before too long. I think you'll see him.
So after that stage, just another little something to keep our eyes on here. As everyone knows, I don't know, maybe the viewers don't know, the top 5 drivers in each series are automatically locked in, as we allow 18 cars in the field. Tonight there was only 17 signed up and running, but that's not always the case. Sometimes we have 20 plus drivers, and the top 5 are always locked in. So next Thursday, whoever the top 5 drivers are in points, they're going to automatically make the show, whether they're able to qualify in or not. With that said, after that good stage finish by Trey and Edtho being towards the back end of the top 10, those two are now tied dead even with no stage points or no playoff points either for a tiebreaker going into the second stage for the 5th spot in points.
Yeah, and it looks like that 32 was moving around in the grass a little bit. I was kind of worried for the entrance of 1, but everyone did a great job. He did a great job staying off the other drivers and vice versa. And
Yeah.
it looks like he's three wide right now going through the front stretch.
These restarts are crazy, man.
Yeah, my
Oh, they
gosh,
are.
so much was happening.
And then, I've noticed this. That's one thing I really do like about this game. Is sometimes it can cause havoc because a lot of times cautions breed cautions. But tonight the cautions haven't. I mean, they've come out, but nothing like what we seen Thursday night. So hopefully, they're 4 wide here in the back
Wow.
somewhere.
It looks
Energy,
like
go ahead. Give me one thing that's surprising to you so far. Now that we've finished the first third of this race or first stage of it, give me something that's surprising you to this point in the race.
Well, one thing that doesn't surprise me is Jake being up the front. I'm sitting here cycling through the field myself. Just who haven't we really talked about a whole lot that just kind of riding around and just letting the race come to him, because I'm one of the conservative type of racers where I don't race the race. I let the race come to me a lot of the time. And, Eternal Rest is one guy. I think I've seen him get collected in a few things, but I think we get another couple long runs, especially in that third stage. I think any one of these guys, Ed though too, he's another guy that we hadn't really talked, and somebody that's locked in on points. So I mean, he has the talent. There's a lot of guys in here that, I mean, there ain't really one thing that surprises me.
So it's funny to me that you brought that up because that's exactly where I was going to go with on the surprising of who have we not talked about that maybe is saving something, maybe just doesn't have the car as normal. Somebody that we talked about all night on Thursday at Texas was Jake, and No Pit Pendle was at 1-2 all night long. Pendle is in this race, and this is probably the first time we've mentioned his name. Minus where he finished in the stage. He's only, about halfway through the top 10, and that's about where he's been running all night long. I don't know if he doesn't have the car. Maybe this just isn't his favorite track, but I thought I heard him saying earlier in a chat party earlier that this is one of his absolute favorite tracks.
Hey, he says his favorite short track, and, I think, honestly, if you're running in the middle of the pack, I'm going to just take NoCo's team as an example because obviously I'm watching Robbie stream and now I'm following Pendle. They all pit together. It looked like all the teams pit together for the most part in that first stage. Obviously, whatever he did, Pendle, it got him a top 3 finish in the first stage. I think if you're in the middle of the pack, you're just kind of laying back because you don't want to hit someone's bumper, get front end damage going into these turns. Back them up, get your positions when somebody else messes up. That's just something what I would do if I'm sitting here in the middle of the pack. I mean, obviously you want to be out front, but that can't always have that.
Man, there's some really good racing going on right now on track. One thing that I gotta say surprises me is that
Whoa.
these guys aren't spinning out as I thought they would. Even like, sometimes by yourself you get a little loose, or maybe we're just not catching it. But these guys really have it dialed in for right now. I think they've realized, damage is on. I got to keep this thing running for 100%. Um, it looks like the research has been done. I really like what I'm seeing. This is fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely, this is great racing. Real quick, I don't know if anybody's mentioned it here, but the car that's sitting P2 right now, not falling back from Jake, is our pole sitter. He gone first. He has proven to have the fast car. He spun earlier, had to fight his way back up, but he's riding in P2 between Jake and Trey right now.
Well, I'm happy that you mentioned that, Taddy, because I've been wanting to mention it a few times, but there's so much good conversation going on right now that I never got to get it in there. But I was watching him in that first stage, fighting his way through packs of cars, and all right, not fighting his way, he was working his way through, because he wasn't beating banging, he was being very
Patient.
calculated with it, very patient, man. For sure, and to see him there, that's really good. I like the way Trey was running too, but it looks like his car maybe fell off a bit. Could have worked that right frontal a little hard, because imagine with 2 times wear, they got to be getting about halfway to pitting soon. I don't know.
I'm riding a little bit farther back here, and there is a hornet's nest. It looks like for sixth, maybe seventh place, I got Woodruff, we got Pendle, we got Golf Nut, OEM, Bulk for You, Edtho. These guys are just going crazy, back and forth, three wide. One's on the outside, one's on the inside. Great racing. I haven't seen hardly any contact.
I didn't see what happened
Ooh,
to
outrighter,
Robbie
and you
here.
see?
Bulk got
Oh,
a
go
little
ahead.
loose there right after
Yeah,
I
he
said
did.
that. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Oh,
Oh,
Woodruff in the side of Pendle.
yeah. Robbie's got
Oh
to come
shoot.
down pit road. His engine's at 80%. He's got 69 air. I'm not sure what happened to him. The
I wonder if
leaders
he.
were coming up on him, so I think he just went
Oh.
down pit road to get this out of the way.
Yeah, I was looking at his car. The splitter was blinking red. I think the
The
radiator was
engine
a
was
little
yellow.
yellow. Engine was, yeah. So he's
He's
probably
got
gonna have.
13 seconds worth of repair damage here. He's going to be on
Yeah,
pit
Man,
road for a minute.
I
that's
really hate
alright.
seeing that happen, Robbie. I heard you, Enoch, going over the charity for the hospital. And the man's driving with such a heavy heart. He's a great person. Again, he's a foreigner. He's not from here in the States. The man does everything he can. He's come to me actually for other benefit factors. To anybody here watching, if you can, on our Facebook and on our Twitter page, we have the link for his GoFundMe for his charity. Even if you don't have a dollar to share or a dollar to put into it, just share it. The more it gets out, the better. The more likely that we're not just doing this just for his daughter. This is for everyone at the hospital, as the hospital needs funds to be able to treat for people in these conditions.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what else too? He's a cool guy. I actually remember when I met him in a lobby. I just joined a lobby one day, and he was real nice. And we raced, talked a lot, and he sounded funny when he talked. Cause he's no, I'm just kidding, Robbie. But yeah, no, you're a great guy, and I think it's a great thing you're doing for that hospital, especially because of all the great things that they've done for the
I really
children
feel
around
like
it.
we need to get him, RKM, and Mills up here. Our three
Yeah.
out of country drivers. Get a couple Canadians, get a Robbie in here. I don't know as if anybody will be able to understand any of the words coming out of their mouth, but it'll sure be a fun podcast to hear.
Eh, it threw me off first time I'm sitting here in a team chat. I just gotten into Team NoCo, and Robbie hops on. I get called mate, and I'm like, either he's Australian or he's from the UK, one of the two. And then he was telling me he's from the UK, and yeah, he's super nice guy, polite. And I tell you what, I've been watching him a lot, especially Thursday night and tonight. This guy cannot catch a break on the track. I'm telling you, Thursday night, I was just saying right before I hopped into the booth earlier, I was in a party chat with the team, and I told him, I said, you know what, Robbie? I said, I think you probably set a track record at Texas for most cars passed in a single race. He worked his way through the field I don't know how many times, and every time he'd get up towards the front, something would happen, and he'd end up with a bunch of damage, and it seems like tonight, same thing.
Yeah, it must have been the right place but the wrong time kind of deal, man. That happens. But he's persistent and he keeps going. He's got it.
Yeah, you
Not
can't
Man.
to
quit.
not to change subjects here, but I'm looking and I'm seeing this car, the 19 of Bad For You.
That's who I'm
Trey is
looking at
falling
too.
off.
Yeah.
Bad For You he's our second place in points entering this race. Jackson Strong, again, top 5 here in points. Bad For You's worked his way up and he's now gotten by both Trey and Jackson. So he's a
And
man that might have a long run car. He might
And
be
it looks
somebody to
like
look
these
forward
30
to this one.
cars are starting to dip down pit road. Rebel Joker's down pit road. What are they doing? I think they might be trying to split this stage in half. Not quite. There's still 35 laps to go in this. Well, actually, 32 probably, because I'm sitting here watching Robbie
Probably
stream.
a
And
few laps
he's
down, yeah.
yeah. So
There's some
we're
other
getting those
takers
32.
actually. No Pit Pendle's on pit lane. Woodruff is now on pit lane. Same as last time, the 30 guys they pitted first, and then the same takers, Pendle and Woodruff, they followed suit. Let's see if Jake follows suit and pits here within the next lap or two.
Yeah, Jake, he's gonna go ahead and pass pit road this time. I know Jake said he had a good long run car, and he said he was gonna be riding that fence pretty much the entire time. And as I mentioned, going around the track a few times before the race, that high line you really got to back the corners up, so you are saving the tires a little bit. And he said his car was stable, and you have to have a specific setup in that car to run that high line for an entire run, and it's working for him so far.
I just seen Pendle and Rebel Joker. We talked about them on pit lane. Rebel Joker was actually already in his pit stall before Woodruff and Pendle decided to pit. Pendle made his pit stop and got back on the track before Rebel had ever come out, so he must have had some pretty severe damages. He's probably now a couple laps down, returning to the track.
Yeah, and I was just watching Roofer and Maddie get on pit road, and man, I hope Maddie's front splitter is all right because it looked like he got a little brake check there. But we'll see how he fares as
He
he's getting
came
off
off
pit
pit
road.
road pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. All right, perfect. So he didn't get to the
Hey,
back.
actually, I'm looking at Roofer's car now that you said that. He looks like he's got some serious front end damage.
Oh, he did. Yeah, I saw
and
that
he's
for a
just
few
now getting
laps.
that pit lane.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually wondering how long that was going to take. Thank you for saying he just got off pit road there, Teddy. So did our leader pit yet? No, right? Did he pit? I don't
No,
remember.
he's still
He's
riding
still
around.
Riding around.
All
Somebody
by
else that has
himself.
pit that I'm interested now to see how this pit lane cycle works out. He gone
Oh,
has pitted and come back out now.
Jake is coming down pit road right now.
I think that's kind of like what we were talking about. Right after I say he gone's already pitted, looks like about 2 laps ago, Jake seen that the second place driver pit. There's no reason if you're the leader and everyone else is already pit. You got to get down there. You got to get those 4 fresh
Yeah,
tires.
you don't want to keep losing
And,
time.
yeah, so it definitely forced his hand. And now the positive is, again, like first stage, Jake's going to come out. He might have lost maybe a second in total, those 2 laps. But he's going to have the freshest tires on the long run here. Is like you said, Energy. They were only about halfway through the stage.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just sorry. I was just watching he gone and he hit the wall. To me, it looked pretty hard out of 4. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt the car too much.
I'm telling you what. I think when we talked about earlier, learning things from these races. One thing I know for a fact that Jake learned Sunday night, last Sunday at Auto Club, we had Fluffy in there. Obviously, Fluffy is one of the best in the game. It doesn't matter if it's default or custom setups.
He also
Pro
has
League
a
driver.
sexy voice.
Yeah, he does. That's also another one of my dad's. But no, Jake was planning strategy around him because he had his draft, so he was able to hang with them. They checked out, and if we were going to have them long green flag runs, we knew we had long green flag run cars, and so he was hoping Fluffy, if we were going to have that long green flag run at the very end of the race, he wanted Fluffy to pit a few laps earlier than him. And looks like Jake is letting these guys pit early because he has a long run car. He's not going to lose a ton of time getting on pit road, getting off, as long as he does it clean. And then he's going to have fresher tires. And his mindset was, okay, I'm going to be able to overtake this guy because I'm going to have better tires than him. So I think he's taking that into consideration when he's letting all these guys pit before him right now.
Yeah, in the past few laps, I watched Bad For You and Trey work their way around Jackson strong. I don't think Jackson is really pushing too hard. He's taking it lap by lap. You got to think about how you have to hit your marks at this place. You really have to hit it perfectly, and you can fall out of a rhythm and
Yep.
and a confidence. I remember we talked about that once, Taddy, and great job holding it. And the other two are showing some great speed. One that we haven't really talked about much is Ed, though, in that 53, that nice green car.
Yeah, I like that paint scheme.
He's a sleeper, man, I swear.
Well, I know he was running up towards the front middle of the pack most of the race so far. But, you know, we're going to have to see. Jake, I think, is going to put some guys a lap down here for the end of the stage.
Yeah, he's
especially
right to
if
the rear
anyone,
of Eternal right now.
yeah, if anyone got, pit road penalties, he's going to lap them guys. It's definitely going to shake things up. And unfortunately for Robbie, that's going to make it a lot harder for him to get his laps back unless we have some serious cautions in the third stage, which hopefully we don't have for the sake of good racing. We don't want to see a caution fest. And so far, this race has been phenomenal. So,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. These guys on the track, they're doing an amazing job. I mean, complete 360 from Thursday, but Thursday wasn't necessarily the drivers that they were being roughhousing or nothing. It's just they were at Texas. In Texas, everybody here, they all know, coming off turn 4, it doesn't matter what slider you have, it's loose. And on a 3 times wear, that tire wear is miserable. About 10 laps into it, the car is almost unbearable coming off turn 4.
yep.
Yeah. I think I've figured something out. I think I have a little observation, and I'd like you guys to think about it too throughout the race. Because I'm watching Jake try and work his way around that 31, and Eternal wants to stay on that lead lap, but he was trying to go on the outside, and Eternal was not letting it happen, and then he ducked down to the bottom of Eternal, and he couldn't get by him. He couldn't do it. He fell back kind of significantly, but it looks like Eternal just had a little bit of an issue. So I think there's a little foreshadowing with that. At the end of the race, if you're in front of Jake, you stay high. I don't think he might not have the car to do it on the bottom. I'm going to keep an eye out, though.
I'm watching it right now as well, and honestly, I think before too long, Jake's going to get fed up.
Yeah.
I honestly do believe that Robbie gets out of the
that was
way
awesome.
there.
Let's see if he can do it on the bottom this time.
Yep.
Yep.
Hopefully he just gives up here.
Nope. Oh, then the 30 on him there in the wall. I'm getting a little lag. I don't know about you guys.
Where are you getting the lag from? Which car?
All of them kind of like just jolted to the side a bit.
I'm not having that issue, but I have seen that from time to time during the race.
Yeah.
I'm not even seeing it on the stream. I'm watching our stream, and I don't see it on there.
I gotta say, I really like that blue that Bad For You chose. That's a nice blue.
Yeah, that is a nice looking car. It looks like Jake's going around Maddie. Real quick, what you were saying, Enoch, going into that a little bit more, you talked about Jake and maybe take the top lane away from him, to maybe slow him down. And, you're right. He probably doesn't have the car on the bottom. Probably not to do anything to do with that he doesn't have speed down there. He probably hasn't practiced it. Knowing that all the other cars were going to be on the bottom, he probably practiced hard on going to the outside.
Yeah.
So his rhythm, you talked about how this is such a rhythm track. You make one mistake and you're out of your own rhythm. His rhythm is not at the bottom. So hitting his marks down there might be a little bit harder. That doesn't mean that he won't be able to go down to the bottom, but it might offset him for a few laps when he does go back to the top lane.
Yeah, Taddy, you brought up another point there with the rhythm, and you said you make a mistake, you lose your rhythm, but also, you move your line, you change your line up. Then that could ruin your rhythm as well. It's not necessarily a mistake, just trying something different. But look at all that gap he's got now, after working lap after lap to get around him.
We gotta be sitting here at about 10 to 11, maybe 12 laps. It's hard to tell. As I know Robbie just got lapped again. He's gonna have to come down pit road, I believe, since he pitted so early for damage. He's gonna have to come down pit road one more time before the end of the stage, I believe.
And it's looking like we're right back in rhythm at the end of stage 1. Look at the next car that Jake's going to be catching up to, Golf Nut. The guy that at the end of stage 1 was fighting hard as heck. We thought was for second, but it was for to get his lap back. And Jake's coming right back up to Golf Nut,
Oh,
so
shit.
almost the same chapter, different book.
No wonder why when they restarted, I didn't see Golf Nut around. Man, I missed that. Um, so I see that we've got a lot of viewers. I haven't been able to take a look
They haven't
at all the
spoken for a
chat or
while.
anything. But with everyone in here, I did want to just bring back up to talk about the name of the race and how it's a charity for G.O.S.H. G.O.S.H is it's a hospital in the UK. It's a Great Ormond Street Hospital. It's a children's charity, and Robbie wants to thank the church or the hospital for all that they've done for his family and his daughter, who has been through a lot. Very strong 4-year-old. So anyone watching, if you got Robbie Vids YouTube, I know he's got his link there, link on Facebook. Taddy, you brought up such a good point. Even if you can't contribute monetarily, you can spread the word, and then you never know. That's such a big part of things is getting stuff out there, and I think it's great what he wants to do for this church because they want to help kids, and it feels good to help someone that wants to help.
As we speak of that, Jake is here in that traffic because he's caught Golf Nut and he's already lapped Woodruff. So Golf Nut has actually gotten by Woodruff, and now Jake is going around Golf Nut. I'm wondering if Golf Nut's going to fight as hard as he did last time to stay on that lead lap. As look who they're catching against. Again, same book, different chapter. They're coming up on Robbie again. Here's the next car in front of Jake.
Yeah, I think is it Jake Giro? It should be Deja Vu or something like that. I couldn't think of a good pun right off the bat there. But yeah, you're right, man. It is kind of the same thing, and it just shows he's got a lot of speed. And that thing is
I hate
tight up
that, man.
top. Yeah.
When I'm like, I'm going to say something real funny, let me open my mouth, and then,
Yeah.
oh, wait, where's the funny part?
You know,
Crickets.
I worked at this place, and a few of the guys I worked with. Real quick story. This one guy, he would just say like the dumbest stuff. So this other guy says to him, "Hey man, before you say anything, think about what you're gonna say. Wait 2 minutes, and then don't say anything at all." It's like, wow, that sucks. That's a burn. I should have done that. I should have done that before I opened my mouth. But thanks for being there with me, Patty. As if the
I'm
same
just,
thing
hey,
happens to you.
I'm
That's a
supporting
good
you still,
friend,
man.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
pretty good.
Appreciate it.
I mean, anybody that's spent any time with me in the chat know that I don't really think before I speak very often. So I mean, it happens all the time.
No,
Man.
man,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I feel it. I am the same way. You never know.
Yeah,
what's gonna
energy
come out of
gets
his
the
mouth.
same thing. He's got that pretty voice, so he gets away with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He just has to like say a few words, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, man, I'm
Yeah,
Everyone's in awe.
yeah,
yeah. All his dads.
All of them. All like 80 of them.
That's good, man. Got a lot of support with you, then.
Yeah.
Golf Nut's still hanging around, man. I like it.
He's doing just like last time. If he put
Yeah.
this much, I mean, I love the guy to death. I got him on my team. He's a great driver. And actually, if I'm Golf Nut right now, Woodruff's had a good car. I might be content to just ride behind Jake and be the first car a lap down, which would also pin Woodruff a lap down at the end of this stage.
Ooh, that's another
You're going to see
strategy
a
going
lot
right
of guys
there.
a lap
Dude,
down
nice.
after this stage. And
There-
we got to be coming to the end. I can't tell how many laps down
Well,
Jake
and that's
or
what
Robbie
right
is
now. Right now, if I'm Golf Nut, I'm riding behind Jake, pushing just as hard as he is.
And
It
Jake,
actually
this
looks
must be
like
the end of
Jake pulls
stage
over.
because Jake's
He let
giving
Golf
everyone the
Nut go.
lap back.
Wow,
You
That's
know what?
respect right there.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a lot of
classy.
respect right there.
wow.
That
And
is
wait,
classy.
Jake and Woodruff, they're not teammates, are they?
Nope.
Okay.
Maybe there was some other reason behind that, but surely he didn't run out of fuel, did he? He might
I mean,
have
I
run out
don't
of
think he
gas.
did run out of gas, but don't call me Shirley. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think-
not-
I don't think he ran out of gas because he was the last car to pit. If you guys remember, everybody else was able to make it, and if he wouldn't, that would just be crazy. Maybe he took less fuel on the pit lane, and maybe that's why he's setting these blistering lap times. Or maybe Golf Nut's been racing side by side with him a lot.
Yeah, so we got a
there
bunch
hasn't
of
had any
cars.
contact. Oh, go ahead.
Only 7 cars on the lead lap here. Woodruff is the first to lap down. Maddie will be second in the lap down. I'm trying to see who. Oh, here it is.
Here comes the top 10 here. And actually, so from 7th place, Golf Nuts in 7th, uh, back, everybody, or so from 8th back was a lap down. Woodruff will get the lucky dog. The top 10 finishing order. Jake Giroux, again, P1. He gone first. P2, Jackson is strong. Bad for You and Trey round out the top 5, followed by No Pit Pendle, Golf Nut, Woodruff. Maddie's moved himself into the top 10 in 9th, and MP Roofer rounds out the top 10.
I'm excited, guys. Look at this. We got the 40 who's been leading a lot. We got he gone first in second, who started first and was showing strong until he had a little mishap. Let's see if he can keep it up there.
Now, obviously, end of the race here, aggression levels are going to get a little high, especially if you're a lap down. You're going to be fighting the other guys a lap down to make sure that if a caution does come out, you're in position to get your lap back. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
We didn't have any cautions in the second stage, did we?
no, I don't believe so. But that 40 man, Jake was able to clear second, get back to that high line like he's comfortable with. And let's see what Bad for You and he gone gonna do.
Ooh, Jackson dives it underneath.
Jackson did, yeah. What a fast entrance into 3. Good job holding
He-
on to that thing.
Yeah, they did a good job there, not wiping each other out.
That was.
Now, Bad was another guy I talked about. I know he's fast. I think Jake's got this high line locked down. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to mess with him on the long run.
Wow.
I mean, he's just got this thing rolling.
Dude, this
And
is
he-
some great battling. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Third on back, man. It's wild back there.
Man, these guys are showing really good precision too, and being aware of what's going on around them. You know, because you could easily kind of have a bad corner, and then all of a sudden, domino effect. The guy behind you needs to check up. Guy behind him, and it could ruin your line. It could move the weight around. But everyone's doing a good job of being aware of all that. I'm impressed, man.
And something Taddy mentioned earlier about Diesel Chunk, it looks like he has lagged out on another 100%
man.
race.
I hate to see that, man. He's always running up. Got a good, strong car everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Another quick conversation piece. Trey received stage points in that stage, and Edtho did not. What that does is puts Trey is now went from 6th to 5th in the points, sparring the end of the race here. As he's got a 6-point lead now over Edtho for P5, which is the locked position.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before, Taddy, and how important that is to make sure that you're locked into the next week's race. So,
well, one other thing I want to mention, right? So we have 8 drivers that had already had points in this series. 9 actually, if you include Roofer. Only 9 drivers that have already raced on Saturday have showed up tonight to race. As we've had, Robbie's here, so he's going to get some points. He hasn't gotten any stage points, so 10. Everybody else. Woodruff, Rebel, Golf Nut, Matty, Eternal, some of these drivers that are just showing up here for the first Saturday race, the top 10 in points make the playoffs. So even though they might be 60, 70 points out of top 10 right now, this is only week 3 out of a 12-week regular season before the final 4 playoffs. They have plenty of time to move up. You know, these Woodruff, Rebel, Golf Nut, Matty, these guys only have 10 points right now or so after the first 2 stages. There's plenty of time for these guys to make it into the playoff margin, so don't count these guys out of your overall season picture either.
yeah,
You guys watching this battle for the lead here?
Oh,
I'm
it's
watching
crazy.
from Trey's point of view.
Bad for You has moved up. He stopped running that bottom line and started running behind Jake, and he got back to his bumper in a hurry. So this could get exciting here.
Oh man, and you know, Taddy, you said it. You can't win a championship in one night. It's good to
No.
get consistent, be confident in yourself, build confidence in yourself. A lot of people like, sorry, Robbie, you're in a bad spot right now, but he's still in there. He's still doing it. He's running his own race. He's figuring things out, and I wouldn't be concerned if I were him. If as long as he keeps making it, like you said, to the races, if he wants it, he can do it. And then there are guys that aren't in here all the time, and they got that short-term goal where it's like, nah, I'm going to win this race, and it's the same thing as like as if Cup drivers going down the Xfinity Series. Yeah, those kind of scenarios.
I'm
Right.
just
But
throwing this out real quick. We have a second taker on the lag out incident as Matty3233 is also out of the race now.
oh my
Oh, what
gosh,
happened to
that's
him?
too bad. He's
He
been in
said
here
he
so
just lagged
long.
out.
Ugh.
Let's
He's
hope
been
that
having
doesn't happen a lot.
last 2 days. He almost had his name taken off. His internet was being all messed up. It was having a hard time keeping him in lobbies. Like he could do one little small race, and then if he stayed in the lobby, it would freeze on him. So maybe his internet connection issues are continuing. You know, I hate to see that
Ooh,
happen.
you guys see
Yeah,
that
that does.
towards the back? I think Robbie got a little loose and he was three wide with Ed though, and I think who was that? Was it Rebel?
Rebel Joker.
Yeah, and just got Rebel Joker into the grass.
You know, at this point in time in the race, everything becomes different strategies. You know, you got Jake, you got Bad for You up here. These guys are trying to stay in P1. And then you have in the back part of the pack, you have these guys that are all racing side by side a little bit farther back, but they're not racing just for a race win or, you know, top 10 at this point. They're racing for that lucky dog so that they can get back in contention to win this race, you know. As we'd said, 7th place, 8th place with Woodruff getting back on the lead lap. Everyone else from 9th to 17th is a lap down. So there's a lot of guys fighting for that lucky dog if a caution were to come out.
Yeah,
And we still have well over 100 laps left, so
right.
I mean, we're sitting probably about 110 laps left here in the third stage, roughly.
Exactly. So with what I was saying, you know, if you can get that lucky dog now, you got more than enough time to work your way back up to the front. You know, you don't want to try doing it with 10 laps left, you know, and have to start at the back of the pack. You want to go ahead and put yourself in a spot now to be there at the end of the race.
So that gets me thinking, you know, with all these laps left, you want to keep the car clean, but at the same time, every position, every tenth of a second matters. You never know how that could work out for you towards the end of the race. But with thinking about that and keeping the car clean, you don't want to give up too much. It's so hard to find that middle ground of how you should run and like be really aggressive or be easygoing. But that
So
can
I
hurt
have
you. Either way could hurt you. What would you do, Taddy? How are you running
I
this?
have 2 go times in a race.
All right,
So
cool.
you
Let's hear
have you can ride around in the back through the first 2 stages. You know, the stage points are important. Uh, But if you don't have the chance to win without those playoff points, you know, just keep your nose clean, keep yourself in contention, you know, don't lose the laps. Just do everything you can, staying on the lead lap in the first 2 stages, you know. And then stage 3, right at the beginning of stage 3, that's your first go time, you know. That's where you got to work yourself into the top 5, top 6 positions on the track, you know, if you have a car to do it. And then you get down into the last 30, maybe 40 laps of the race, that's a go time. Like now it's time, okay, it's time to push that extra little something I've been saving. You know, I didn't show everyone what I had this whole race. Now it's time to show everything I got, put it all on the table, go for that victory.
Yeah, and you know, you're saying restart or the start of the third
I'll
stage.
be right back.
You got to think about that. The time differential. Virtually, that's when it's at its closest to the leader. If you're
Mm-hmm.
closer to the back, so that's when you want to pick up time. If you're within 2 seconds at the beginning of a stage, it's better than trying to work your way back from 10 seconds later on. If you're being
Absolutely.
too conservative, but you know, everything's a double-edged sword in racing. That's kind of how I see it, and you just got to be smart and understand what you got, and hope for the best. Because it can come out to luck, can come out to speed. Who knows?
You know, if you're sitting in P12 right now, and you try doing pitch strategy or something along those lines, you might make up a couple positions, maybe get 9th place, be the first car lap down. You know, if you're sitting P6, you might be able to do strategy and get a top 3 finish.
Yeah.
If you're sitting 4th place right now and you start doing strategy, you might end up getting yourself.
Trey got hurt real bad coming out of 4. His car is
So
facing the wrong way on the front stretch. Sorry, but he is ghosted. They're getting through him.
He's still sideways, just now getting going,
Oh
which
man,
probably
that's
means
too
he's
bad for
going to have
Trey.
to
He's
pit
got
and
to
get that
pit.
fit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they All right, let's hope that keeps him in the fuel or in the tire window, really, so that he won't have to put in extra time. But that damage is going to take a while to repair. Doesn't look like caution's coming out for him. He's
He's
staying on the
gonna have.
track.
He's probably trying to just bide some time, hoping a caution come out.
Yeah.
Maybe they're getting down to where they only got about 10 laps before they need to pit anyways. So maybe he's just trying to ride around, try to hope and pray a caution comes out before he absolutely has to pit.
Right, maybe the damage isn't as bad as it looks on my screen, who knows, but he's running. Let's see what he can do. I like what he said though. Maybe he is trying to think about his window. It's so hard to do all those things at once when you're driving. Trying to calculate, do math and all that. What's good is my best friend, he's a scientist, an engineer for NASA. He's really good at math, so I have him sitting next to me and he figures out when I should pit. Um,
It goes
that's
back to what you were saying though. If he does have all this damage, he's going to lose so much time. Jake's coming up to him right now, but this math aspect of it, you mentioned it early in the race. These guys and their teams, they're not just showing up here, turning the game on and turning in laps. These guys have put in the work. They've done the math. They know if I pit here, I can make it to this lap. That will lead me to this lap, which will lead me to the end. You know what I mean? And so Trey knows in his head, I need to make it to this lap. It might be 6 laps from now, it might be 12 laps from now. But by being able to make it to that lap, even though he might lose a lap here to Jake, inevitably it's going to cause him less time on pit lane as he won't have to make that extra stop later on.
right. And I think he noticed that too because I did see I think it was MP Roofer on pit road, so they must be falling in that window. So hey, it could be worse, Trey. It could
It
definitely be
looks like
worse,
golf
but
Hunt's coming down pit lane now, so another taker. Now,
all right.
if I am Trey though, I'm pitting now that we're within the window.
Oh, of
Once I'm
course.
seeing other people pitting, you got to come down now and get that damage fixed.
Yeah.
As we seen him earlier running with Jake, and he's fallen off from Jake now, pretty clear as day. Also, these other guys that are pitting that might be a lap down, Trey losing his first lap, he's got to stay with these guys to be in contention for that lucky dog that we were speaking of later.
Yeah. Oh man, for sure. So Taddy, I'm looking at Jake's car. I'm looking at the nose of it and behind him. I don't see bad for you. I think I just saw him back there. Bad for you is right up there with him at that restart for quite a while. What is he gonna need? What is bad for you gonna need to get this win?
Tires.
He's gonna need tires, and I think he's gonna need a caution. I
He
don't know how he's gonna be able to keep up after
I don't think
that.
he needs a caution right now. I
Well,
think
yeah, later
you
on,
want
I'd
to hit.
say. Yeah.
If I'm bad for you, I'm gonna try to pit. 3 to 4 laps before Jake, come out, gain that ground, and then try my best to stay with him. Realistically, it looks like bad for you as a short run car, not the long run car that Jake has. I might be with 15, 20 laps to go. If I'm bad for you, that's probably when I'm hoping for a caution. As of right now, too soon. You want to get all the other contenders out of the way. Something else I want to point out real quick. These tires pitting a couple laps early, like we said. Roofer pitted 3, 4 laps ago now. And when he come out of the pits, he was half a straightaway behind Jake. He's catching him now to on track take one of his laps back. That's the difference that we talk about when we say the fresh tires are huge. It's
And
bad for you coming off pit lane right now, just as we're speaking of it.
yeah, I'm sticking with Jake because I want to see where he comes off pit
Bad
road.
for
I
you
don't
is
want to
right
miss
behind
that.
Jake. Yeah, he just come off pit lane right behind Jake.
Did Jake already pit?
No, I'm
Okay, okay.
watching. I was
Oh,
on Jake's screen
yeah.
also, and
Okay,
that
good,
blue
good.
car right
In
there,
that blue
that's
car,
bad for
that's
you.
him?
So
Alright, perfect.
if we're bad
Let's
for you
see.
now, we want to get that lap back under green here
Oh yeah, yeah.
before Jake pits.
You know how that can happen. It happens not a lot, but it does happen quite a bit in real life where
Jake's pulling off the
people,
pit now.
yeah, where people pit early and then the leader stays out, caution, and now you got to work your way through it. So, all right, say in a perfect world, Taddy and NRG, say, all right, so we were talking about Jake and how he is on the high side. Bad for you on that restart. He couldn't get around him because Jake was holding that high line. In a perfect world, if you knew exactly what adjustments to make your car good on the
I'm
bottom,
back, boys.
even or good up top, what do you think bad for you would want to do to his car?
If
if
I'm bad
there's
for you
another
right now,
restart.
there's no reason
Where does he
to
want to
work
be
on
hit?
the car being on the outside. You
Right.
need to be strong on the inside because, and this is why, Jake's already good on the outside.
Yeah.
You know if you catch
And
Jake, you can't beat him on the outside because
yeah, and
Jake's
he's
already
gonna
going to
hold
be
that
there.
line. Yeah, yeah. How are you
Yeah.
gonna get there? Right.
You need to be strong on the inside because it's hard.
Completely.
Making a move on the inside here is very hard because the run that they get off on the outside, if you're side by side with someone as you get back on the straightaway, they're going to beat you by the time you get into the next corner.
Yeah.
You have to not only get next to them entering the corner, you have to be past them and be able to do the slide move. You know, you have to be able to creep up in front of them and then take his line away and stay to the high side and make Jake drop back down to the bottom so
Sure.
that you can have that run off in the next corner.
Oh yeah.
There's one way you can do it.
What do you got?
Or there's
Well-
8 tires instead of 4.
All right.
Well, that too. No. So, I'm not sure. I missed a little bit of this. I had to go run a quick errand.
No, you're
but,
good.
So, each other. Like I mentioned earlier, Jake wants these guys to pit before him, obviously. Now, if somehow Bad for You can get it flip-flopped where he can get Jake to pit a couple laps before him, he could run that high line, get to his bumper, and he could dive it down there and hold it because Jake's going to have a little bit more reward tires. And if he can get underneath them, not clear to the bottom, but middle of the track where you're not going to break loose on the exit, he could have, it won't be as good of a run, but it'll be better than running the bottom on exit, and he could, make a pass there. But what you guys said pretty much is a little more realistic. You want to get in front of him and take his line away if you can. I think that's really the most realistic
Yeah,
option.
Actually,
so it sounds like
you're
timing
right,
is
though.
important. Timing is
You're actually right,
important,
though. Swapping that pit cycle around is huge at this point. The problem is that without a caution, you almost can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
because
then you're
by
gonna
the time that you
he'll be running
pit,
it.
even if you're out of fuel, Jake is able to go 3 laps more because he's waited 3 more laps at this point already. So the flip-flopping without a caution is highly unlikely. Just like you were saying, it's a lot more realistic that he's got to catch him on the track. And from what I'm seeing tonight, I haven't seen anybody that can do that. Bad for You is strong on restarts, but that's about it. It looks like he falls off on about lap 10 and 15 of those restarts.
Yeah,
I do have multiple invites to the NoCo party chat, so if I need to go over there to get an actual lap counter where everyone's at, time differentials between place, I will do that. I think when we're coming to anywhere between 50 and 60 to go, I might go ahead and do that unless something happens to where it's like, oh, I should definitely do it right now.
Well, you should still be able to get into this since you were invited once before. It's not like you created.
Yeah, once you're invited, actually, you can
Yeah.
get right back in unless you created it. I always tell you to send me extra invites. You never have to.
Right.
Oh, well, see, that's the thing. Thursday night, I left that chat that I started, and then
Yeah, when you start it, you can't. You have to get it in.
Yeah,
Oh,
when you
see,
start it, you
that's
can't.
weird.
If somebody
Yeah,
else
it
has sent
makes-
you an invite into
you
it,
would think that if
can
you
get back
start
in
it, you should be able to get back in it.
Yeah,
But
it makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah.
That's PlayStation for you, man.
That's all right. So while we were talking about different ways to get around him, to get around Jake, is if we were Bad for You. That's when Jake got off pit road, and that's when Bad for You really needed to catch up. Bad for You did pick up some time because Jake stayed out there a little longer. He stayed out there, what would you say, like 3 or 4 laps maybe, Taddy? But he stayed out there a little longer, so he was losing time on those laps. But now I'm looking ahead from that 19 to Bad for You, and he doesn't really see much of Jake. So Jake's just got a super fast car right now, and he's hitting his marks. He's hitting his timing perfectly getting on pit road, it seems. I don't want to jinx anything, but
there's obviously not a lot of fall off with that car.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, man. And do you think a lot of that is not having to turn it too much? Not putting a lot of stress on that right front. And it looks like we had a spinner that may be
that was Roofer.
Yeah.
One other thing we haven't talked about that could play huge. When you're going a lap down, just like we'd seen Golf Nut earlier, Golf Nut, he wasn't taking Jake's line away, but he was slowing him down by running side by side. These lap cars, when they see Jake, are going to race as hard as they can to stay either on the lead lap or 1 lap down or, whatever lap they're on. They don't want to let Jake by. Yeah. Once Jake gets by and Bad for You catches him, What are they doing trying to hold him back? Absolutely nothing. They're just going to let Bad for You go if they see that he's got the line and he's faster.
Yeah, it's a respect
The
thing I feel too for the
Absolutely.
leaders. Yeah.
So at this point in time, Bad for You wants to see Jake catch as much lap traffic as humanly possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you
Oh,
know,
Barring the caution,
Trey.
that's his best chance.
and
Yeah,
you know what
Trey
else?
got involved.
Let me try and find Trey.
Wow. Trey plowed into somebody who was spinning off a turn. I believe it was 4. Somebody was spinning. He just plowed right into him. Oh, there is no caution.
Yeah, you know when
Trey's
things get
been,
spread out like this, it's so hard to
actually,
Oh,
we talked about that too, Energy, the other
yeah.
night on Thursday.
Yeah.
Once it gets later and later into the race, it's like the caution is that much harder to get. Early in the race, it feels like a caution happens for one car spinning out, and later in the race, when you're getting down to crunch time, the little incidences, they don't bring out the caution.
And
You
I
need
don't
almost half
understand
the
that.
field. No, me neither. That's when the caution should come out more
And
likely,
it,
but
Yeah, but it's like it has to be 3 cars, and when you're
yeah,
this spread
minimum.
out, where are you gonna get the other cars? And then if there is a caution, and if one of us was looking at another car, we could be like, dude, he could have avoided that. So it's weird because it could be like a politics type of game where it's like or a selfish type of game. You see someone spinning, oh, I need a caution. I'm gonna purposely hit him. I don't like doing that. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think you should always try to avoid wrecks. But yes, at later on in the race, if there's a few cars that spin, I think there should be a caution. Not if there's 3, even though it's so. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, definitely. The later the race goes, the more likely that a person needs the caution. So those incidences, they're obviously not on purpose. However,
right.
at the same time, I do think that 704 Games has done a good job with that.
Oh yeah,
On
yeah,
that's also when people, if they realize they had a bad start, they got pushed out of the way, they might just start spinning on their own. Pulling some donuts trying to get a caution. So
yeah,
it's kind of a bittersweet kind of thing.
yeah.
If
But
there were
they're trying.
more
It's hard.
setting. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, these guys are trying to do the best they can to improve the game, and they always improve it. But we're always going
Every
to be
year.
critics. We're always going to be
Oh,
critics.
absolutely.
But I think I love the game. I love the game. It's just I
Same.
hate that part of the game, and I freaking no. I'm just kidding. I love it. I love it. And no, they're doing great.
Something
Sorry,
big
their
just
energy. What
happened.
you got?
Jake just lapped our pole sitter. He gone first is now a lap down. It looks like he's pitting again with some
Jackson
front end.
Strong's is pitting. Or no, that's another car that looks just like Jackson Strong. Eto's on pit road.
So all right, they're pitting. It seems like they didn't pit that
Roofer.
long ago. And we were talking about math before, right? So there are times where you can look at a whole stage and say, all right, it's this many laps. If there aren't any green or if there aren't any yellow flags, I need to pit this many times, or at the least this many times. Sometimes you could break that up too, almost short pit. It's like, okay, I don't need to run my tires out completely. I could run to this mark, pit, then run to this mark and pit, and it's still 2 pits that I would have to do. I don't have to completely drag it all out. And I wonder if that's something that this last stage has, where if you do the math, you can kind of play around with when you pit, not completely run the car dry.
Yeah, I think really the only car that's shown that they could do that tonight is Jake. I would think that he's sharing information with his teammates, with Robbie, especially being as many laps now as he can. I would think Robbie's got probably a pretty good long run car, and if it could help him out, he could get a lap or 2 back before the end of this race if he has that long run speed that Jake has. Over there at Team NOCO, we are very team oriented. We're not trying to keep things away from each other. Later in the season when playoffs start stuff, yeah, it'll probably be a little bit different. But in the time being, I think everyone over there is working together on that chat. And if I'm the 43 of Robbie, I'm going to run my car out every chance I get, hoping that, somebody's catching, pit road penalties or, he's on the apron right now. He got loose. 1 and 2. But, no, he could get his laps back if he runs it out of fuel and, other people make mistakes. It's just bound to happen. It might not, but the chances of it happening are pretty good. We
Yeah.
showed how tough it is to get on pit road here, so...
Yeah, if you think about it, even though Jake is in a really good spot right now, he can't relax that much because yeah, anything can happen. He could have something happen and close up that gap.
Well, and not even him. Another car. Trey's been struggling. What happened earlier to Trey? A car spun, and Trey just plowed through
Yeah,
him.
it was Bulk for you
Water.
that he ran into. I just I was gonna say it and kind of forgot. Bulk was spinning out on the backstretch and Trade plowed right into the side of him. So
Right. So as these leaders are catching lap traffic, they're not just hoping for themselves to run cleanly through them. You know, they need to hope and pray that the other drivers don't have an issue. What if a guy's on the high side and wants to drop down and pit, and Jake's right there? The guy crosses over right in front of Jake. Jake runs into him. Now Jake's got to pit for 20 seconds. You know, anything could happen. You miss pit
Yeah.
lane, you lose 20. You know, you lose 5-6 seconds. You speed down pit lane, you lose 15 seconds. Bad for you's for sure within 15 seconds at this point, you know. So, I mean, anything could still happen. Jake, at this point, if you are Jake, you're focused on hitting your marks. That's all you got to do at this point is stay focused. Don't let anything bother you. As we are for sure seeing some more green flag pit stops. Golf nuts on pit lane. It looks like another one of the
I think,
underdogs. Oh, there's a wreck right there. 14 and the 0 of Woodruff
and
get into each other.
And it looks like was that Trey that was there too, but he was able to avoid it.
Yeah,
I doubt.
yeah.
there's
Trey's
gonna
the
be
14. I seen he hit him. Woodruff got into the wall, and then Trey hit him. Woodruff's just now getting going, almost collected Edtho, and exactly
still
what I was
unconscious.
saying. Woodruff was trying to pit.
And now he's on pit road. Yeah, he was.
that makes me
Communication.
angry for them
Yeah.
guys, man. That is such a flaw. I mean,
That should have been him.
that's 2 times the cautions should have come out now. I understand that, like you mentioned, the game's not perfect, but if you look from the first Heat Evolution to now, it's got progressively better every year. I love
Yeah.
this game as well. You know, I wish, you know, they would have said, knowing that everyone buys this, not everyone, but I'd say 99.9% of the people that buy this game buy it to play it online.
Right.
You know, and there are so many leagues. You know, with the online play, you know, rather than just having hosted and public lobbies, why can't you have a league-oriented one where the you can have a moderator sitting there for the whole thing? That person can hit a button and throw out a caution.
That would be nice.
Just something. I mean, it doesn't seem like. I mean,
Kind
I'm
of
sure
like how
that
they
costs
brought
a
in
ton
that
of money to
pause,
do.
that pause button. You know, if
Yeah.
there could be that. I like that. That's a good idea.
I mean, I know it's making one of these games, developing one of them costs a boatload of money.
Yeah.
I understand that, but it's small things. It's like, man, I just wish it was there.
Dude, I gotta tell you, real quick, funny story. When Heat 3 first came out, I was in a lobby and this kid, he was a little kid. He was complaining about the noise. How hard is it to get the noise? It's like, do you make video games, kid? It's you know, it's
Yeah.
got to be hard to do all this, but they do make improvements. And going back to the whole caution thing, they have made improvements. I remember, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but it would be like you had to hit the brake to pit or to get a yellow flag, right? And sometimes I wouldn't want to go to the Roval early on in Heat 3 because if one car is spun and someone's hitting the brake to go into a turn, they're going to call a caution because someone was on their brakes. I feel like that used to play a role in cautions, but
Yeah, I'm
unless
not
I'm
entirely
just
sure
crazy.
how all that works. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about programming. You know, I
No
don't
way.
know how much work. I mean, I'm sure as our leader's coming down pit road, Jake.
Yeah,
But-
I was going to say this about 5 laps ago. Bad for you has already pitted, so just like you were saying, Jake was able to do that longer
Thank you
pit
for
strategy
mentioning
and stay
that.
out longer.
I'm gonna follow Jake now. Let's see where they all
Another thing I'm
line up.
noticing, Bad for you is no longer driving on the bottom of the track.
I think he learned something from Jake.
Oh man, I'd love to see how this kind of plays out. He's not. I don't think he's going to be able to pick up that much time. He's going to need to see Jake,
Well,
like you
there's-
said,
what's
catch
their-
lap traffic.
There's probably 50, 60 laps left of this. They're probably about halfway through with stage 3, if I were to guess.
Oh yeah, they're about well, it's said for Robbie 65. So, and I think Robbie, oh, he's on the, oh, he's still 14th. He's still at least, I believe, 2 laps down.
So we're at about
Um,
60 laps. So with what you were saying, Enoch, about him not having enough time, this stage was about 120 laps, so they're about halfway through it. So all the distance that he's lost, if he starts running faster, he could, pick right back up.
I mean,
Here-
right now he's bad for you is almost half a lap short of Jake, behind Jake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Here,
Jake just came out
bad for
of
you to
second.
start finish line now.
Yeah, and
that's the nice thing
Jake is
about
going
what
into 3.
Jake. He was in a perfect situation. You have this much space. He doesn't have to. Where he was pitting, he didn't have to worry about cars around him. He was able to take his time, make sure he got on the pit road appropriately without speeding, without wrecking. He took his time, nailed it. I mean, he has ran a
Yeah.
superb race. I mean, he's
Oh,
absolutely slaughtered this field.
so one thing that I wanna kind of go back to, because Taddy, I think you brought it up with going around this lap traffic. If I'm on the lead lap, I'm gonna give the leader a much harder time than second place. So Jake, like that's got to worry Jake too, because the guys that are still on the lead lap, they don't want to go a lap down, so they're gonna fight you for it. They're not gonna fight second place after they've already been put a lap down. So it's a little crutch on Jake, but honestly, I think he's gonna be fine with it because he's been so fast to get around them, and he's got a good cushion of
But I'm
time.
looking, while you say that, I'm looking in front of Jake right now, right? And there's 3, 4, 5 cars in front of him.
Yeah,
And then I go back to Bad For You, and Bad For You has no
1,
cars.
2, yeah. But he's gonna
I
have
mean,
to.
he's got a couple cars, but they're a good gap away from him, and it's one at a time. It's not a gangle mess of 3 or 4 altogether. He's got picking them off one at a time, and by the time he gets those 3 or 4 that Jake's probably going to deal with now, they probably will have already sorted it out and be back to single file racing.
Yeah,
It ain't bad for you saving his
and
tires.
spread apart a bit. I don't know. He seems like he's going pretty slow through that corner.
I mean, maybe this is the part where he is trying to separate the pit sequences in his own way. Maybe he has something up his sleeve that we don't know about.
Right.
I honestly think that, Jake doesn't really have to worry about him right now. The only thing he's got to worry about is lap traffic, because I believe he's lapping his teammate Pendle right now. There can't be there can't be too many cars left on the lead lap at this point.
Yeah, man. If I were Jake, I would not start partying yet. You know, a lot of things can happen.
60
But
laps is
he's
a
doing
lot of time.
Yeah,
Oh
man,
yeah.
it is.
And if we can get a caution, that changes everything.
Dude,
Because then the aggression levels are. Everybody's pretty tame where they're at right now. I mean, they're probably not content with where they're at, but everyone's been pretty tame because everyone's pretty spread out. I think
you never
that'll
know.
change if we get a caution.
Yeah, sorry, keep interrupting
shout
you.
out
Oh,
real
you're
quick
good. You're good.
to Smitty, Checkmate Taylor, Salty Tenders, Shadow Grim. Seen you guys here on our YouTube. Thanks for watching. Also members
RJ's
of our
my dad.
here.
See, so
Go ahead.
with the pits and having cautions, and you never know what can happen later on in the race. That's when it could really call for strategy. What if they have a green flag pit stop? They all do, and then 10 laps later there's a caution. Shoot. Now what do I do? Do I take 4? Do I take 2? Like, how many laps are left? You got all these, so many things could play a role. If something happens
with that
right after a
said,
caution, or right after a green flag stop.
it'll really make you think whether or not you want to pit or something. Now, the best friend to that idea is all these cars they're lapping right now, because if you go on a restart and there's 12 cars, say for example, on the lead lap, and Jake pits and you stay out, you got 11 cars between you. With how many cars are lapped down at this point, we're probably down to only 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap.
Oh yeah.
If Jake pits and you don't, he's only 2 or 3 cars behind you. Within a lap, he could already be in front of you.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You're really not going to lose much time if you're on the lead lap. Get those 4 tires. You're going to be right there. I mean, yeah, I would get the 4 tires. I'm getting the 4 tires.
I mean, you'd be silly not to, as we seen earlier with how quickly Roofer, who's not been a top contender, how quickly he caught Jake, our leader, and passed him once he got his 4 fresh tires. If somebody's already got 8 to 10 laps on their tires and you don't pit, I mean, you're just silly on a restart. I mean, you're going to lose so much time to the guys that did take 4.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's when, however, your low fuel runs might come into play. Maybe a guy takes 2 cans to try to make it to the end. Maybe a guy takes 1 can thinking he's going to split it up in the last little bit in half. And you know what I mean? Those lap times would be so much faster with lighter weight.
It all depends, too, with what you know about their strategy, their other strategy, or not, like the strategy that the others are running, and how much time is between you and the people in front of you or behind you. So you have to find out if it's worth it to play
Oh,
differently
there's a
than
car
others.
spun out in 1 and 2 somewhere. Who was that?
Who was that? I just saw
Real
that
quick,
too.
another shout
Oh,
out.
it was Roofer. I think Roofer just lagged out or quit 1 and 2.
I think it was
Just
Bolt.
did a YouTube shout out, but YouTube shout out to Red4424, who's also now watching.
Hey, what's up? We got a nice. Looks like a lot of people are commenting. I don't have this up to say anything, but
There's a lot of foolishness.
a lot of foolishness. Oh, everyone had a good old
Smitty
time,
thinks
huh?
he has the rights to the sexy voice NRG and our favorite broadcaster.
Whoa!
And I think I've proven that I'm in the chat with both of you, so the rights are mine.
Hey, there you go.
Uh-oh.
You know, I
G9 in the
wish
house. Sorry about that, G9. You and Deborah. You guys enjoying the race, hopefully?
it's Deborah tonight, right? It's Saturday. Yeah.
Well, we
Oh,
found out
sorry.
from Thursday that it's
Yeah,
not Becky.
it's not Becky. All right.
Right. Apparently
Good,
there was a
good.
mistake there.
You know, I wish
Uh-oh.
I paid a lot of attention to he gone first throughout the race to see how he's in this position. Because he was so strong early on, and that one little spin, I think it just kind of crumbled down. It was like a snowball. But I thought he'd have a really fast car.
So
Jackson's strong, was strong, strong.
the guy that I believe to be running in third, no pit Pendle, Jake is catching Woodruff, and I'm not sure who the other one is, but right in front of those two is no pit Pendle.
Okay.
Now he is a teammate of Jake, but he's running in third. If a caution comes out and Pendle's able to restart in third, he's got as much shot as anybody to win this race.
Yeah, and we've
So if
seen
you're
No Pit
Pendle, even
Pendle.
though
He's
it's your
strong, man.
teammate, you cannot give this, just let Jake go. I mean, you have got to fight for it.
Well, you know, yeah, teammates to a
Because
point.
Woodruff is actually fighting Jake right now. Jake tries going around him on the outside, and Woodruff coming off the corner slid up in front of him and tried taking his line away.
Yeah, and Jake needs to be careful too around these guys. He doesn't need any damage to the car that could cause
Man,
lap times to be longer and pit times to be much longer.
I think he's the
Woodruff
only
is
person that
racing him hard.
hasn't repaired damage tonight.
Wow, cleanest car sometimes is the winner.
Yeah, sometimes the ugliest looking car is also the winner.
Yeah, you're right. See, everything goes. It could go in any direction.
I mean, have you ever seen NRG when he wins a race? That thing is beat up.
That is true.
Hey man,
That
you
is
get
very
that
true.
win. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I usually, I'm all for taking the brakes out of the car. Weight reduction. Don't really need
Taking
them
the
if someone
brakes
gets in
out.
your way. Just use the car in front of you as a brake.
There you go.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
pretty
do
much the way
the
to go.
tatty method. Tatty method. Use
yeah,
cars
yeah.
as moving walls, man.
I actually learned that by running a lot of pubs with a bunch of guys that have no idea what the hell they're doing. And
OEM Bolt comes out of the pits right in front of Rebel Joker, and they make some contact. As I'm noticing, Woodruff is not going away. He is still fighting hard right here behind Jake. Not to interrupt you guys, but it's getting interesting seeing Jake work his way through this lap traffic.
it's his race to lose.
Yeah, see, that's the best way to put it, man. I remember just watching a bunch of like sprint cup races when it was the sprint series, and like Jimmy Johnson dominating, and then there's late race caution, and he loses it. It was his race to lose, and he'd lose it. Don't want anything like that for anyone that's being strong. I'm not going to necessarily say who the leader is because I don't want to show any type of
Guys,
feeling, but he
breaking
he
news.
doesn't need it.
Breaking news: Becky is G9 Gamers Tuesday girl.
Oh,
So
that's
that
Tuesday.
there was truth to that statement.
There
Pro
is a side
75,
piece.
I see you watching it. Thanks for pointing that out. He's been discovered now.
Yeah, you don't want your boys to ruin it with, ruin the time you're having. You don't want us to be, it's like, you're in divorce court. It's like, how did you find out? Well, he plays video games, and some of the guy overheard these other guys say something
His
about.
PlayStation buddies ain't really his buddies.
Yeah. Backstabber.
Can you imagine, like, if I'm not saying cheating is a good thing, or cheating is not a good thing, but if like that's what ruins your relationship, like oh man, that would be horrible. But
As
let's go
long as she
race
doesn't
day.
throw away my PlayStation, it's cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so Jake is still here in the lead. So
yep.
congrats to Jake with this great run. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
take it,
he does,
MSG.
man.
Yeah, this is gonna go on for a while. I think we're gonna see this in a few races.
I like it. I like it. You know, I
Yeah.
like watching Trey race, man. I think he gets through a lot of adversity through these races. He shows a lot of strength, and that's pretty sweet. His car is pretty beat up. It's been beat up since the beginning. He hasn't been in the right place at the right times. And he was showing fast, especially on restarts. It's cool to see.
We're gonna be
So
seeing
we
green
talked.
flag pit stops here again, here like
Yeah,
real
also,
fast.
real quick, we talked earlier about Pendle being in third. Looks like he's pulling off to pit right now, but right in front of him was bad for you. So Jake was not only catching third place, but
Whoa,
he's catching second place to put him a lap down.
Woodruff was super slow around 3 and 4, and I think he blew a
That's
tire because he just spun too.
possibly he was racing
Oh yeah, Woodruff wrecked
Jake
on
really
pit road
hard.
again. That's two pit time. That's two in a row
And he
that
was
he's trying to get on
slow,
pit road and
very,
wrecked.
very slow on the bottom. I think he must have blew a tire.
Do not downshift into third gear getting on pit road.
If you can
That
get
is
it
a
into
absolute
neutral
death
quick,
wish.
if you can get it into neutral quick, sure, maybe try that. But
I mean, I realize that pretty much the same tactic that you would use to get on pit road on Heat 3 works on here. Don't even let off the gas. Just hit the... Well, this track I realize is a little bit different. But for most of these pit roads, you know, I'm not letting off the gas. I'm just slamming on the brakes, and it stabilizes the car. It doesn't spin out. And once you get down to a reasonable speed, then you can let off the gas, burp the brake a little bit till you get down speed, get down. On this track, it doesn't even really tend to get loose on the pit road. I mean, with worn tires, yeah, it probably does. I didn't really get to that point, but
I think it depends on where you pit, though. If you're one of those guys that pits on, gets down on the apron on the backstretch and you try riding the apron all the way around, you tend to get a lot looser than if you ride
yeah, you gotta
around
be
in the
careful.
corner. If you
yeah.
signify and you can get everyone to stay on the outside, you can stay on the track, you know, and hit the brakes like you were saying, kind of lock them up. As Pendle's going around bad for you right now for what I would imagine to be second place in the race.
Yeah, we got about 35 laps to go, roughly. I'm gonna go hop in that other party chat and get an actual lap counter. It's gonna
Okay,
be,
back to what you were saying, Nick. What do these guys need to happen now? We talked about it earlier, and I said, you know, you don't want to caution early in the race. After Jake pits, which he is still yet to do, that would be about the time that you want that caution to come out.
Yeah.
While Jake's still behind you, not a lap ahead of you yet, a caution comes out. I mean, you're down to a 3-car battle for the win at that point. You're not going to get any worse than third place if the caution
Ooh.
were to come out after Jake pits.
Was that Jake? Did Jake just get out? Jake just got rear-ended going by, I
Getting
think it
on
was
the pit
Jackson
lane?
Strong. Yeah, getting on pit road. He got hit hard.
What do you do now? If you're Jake almost a lap ahead, do you repair that damage and waste
Oh
the
yeah,
time?
I repair that
Absolutely.
damage. Yeah, you've got that
If you
time.
have,
You've got that time.
yeah, but if you take 15 seconds, for example, of damage, I mean, even if it's 6-7 seconds worth of damage,
He's still got,
I
half
still
the
would
track
do it
lead.
because I have confidence in that car that he's
Yeah.
so fast in. I still would do it.
He's probably pissed about it, but what are you gonna do? It's done and over with. Go down, repair the damage. He's only gonna have to pit one more time. He'll probably be cautious of who's around him next time
you
he
need
goes
to get
down
it out
pit
of your
road.
head right now, just like you were saying. Absolutely, move on. This is an
Yeah.
extended pit stop, so he is repairing that damage.
And I'm
Is he
Either
still
that or
on
he
now?
got a pit road penalty.
And I think bad for you is trying to switch that pit strategy around like you guys were talking about. He's
You know,
running
actually,
a few extra laps.
It could have been no bad for you's already pit. That's
Oh,
how
he
Pendle got
has.
around him.
Oh, my bad.
So that could have been both things actually. He gets rear-ended going into pit lane. That could give him both a speeding penalty and it could have given him the damage that he would have had to repair, making a
Oh, my
35 to 40-second stop. But I'm trying to figure out. I don't see Pendle and Bad for You anywhere behind him, so it looks like it was about maybe a 20-second pit stop.
And he did repair whatever damage he has because his car is shining beautifully underneath these lights, which is one
Bad
thing
for
I
You
really
has
love
got
about this.
background Pendle.
Yeah, good
Sorry
good
about that,
point
go ahead.
with how getting hit could cause a speeding penalty. That could be a double whammy. That's a scientific term for it.
I've had that happen to me before,
Yeah,
and I've been ready to fill a whole league up with uppercuts because of that before. So,
Bah, bah.
uh,
Yeah, man, I hear you.
yeah, as Will would say, catch that 10-piece or 2-piece real quick. That is that is literally the worst thing you can do to somebody. I don't like getting wrecked, but if I get a pit road penalty because you pushed me down pit
Ooh,
road too
yeah.
fast,
Yep.
that's how B starts.
Any you guys see the truck race today?
Oh yes, I did. That was
So
awesome.
the same thing. Like if you get black flagged because you're getting pushed by someone that won't disconnect, you know,
Two.
it's the same type of deal. You get a penalty because someone else's stupidity, and well, not necessarily stupidity, but mistake.
Which part are
Accidents
you
can be
talking about?
accidents. Well, I'm talking about like I think in the middle of the race or towards the middle. I forget who's leading. I think it was Stuart Freeze and someone was locked on. Whoever was in second was locked on to him, and they both got pit road penalties. You know, the guy behind
Hey,
him is the one locked onto his rear bumper, but
Yeah, see, there should be a rule, where that person that's getting pushed in,
uh,
it
because you
should go
so
can't.
against them.
No, right?
so
You
real
can't just
quick
move out of the
here
way, or else you can spin.
to go with that penalty or the damage. Jake is now coming out of two right now. If you remember, he was almost a full lap ahead of Pendle and Bad For You. Bad For You are now in 1 and 2 right now. So it's not even half a track now at this point, where it was almost a full lap prior.
Yeah.
So if these guys have anything for Jake, now, they got to put it on right now. And as I say that, Bad For You is pulling Pendle, who was in front of him after the pits. He's looks like about 2 seconds ahead of Pendle now.
I tell you what, Jake is going to be very close on fuel, I believe. I did see Pendle and Robbie both pit before Jake did, and it was a couple laps. Which I don't think you actually use up a whole lap of gas around here, depending on how much you're letting up. But you also got to take into consideration Jake's running the higher line, the longer way around the racetrack. So he might be good to the end, but we'll see. I'm still
So
not
that's a
sure if
great
he
point.
didn't run out of stage or run out of gas at the end of stage 2 when he or stage 1, whatever it was, when he was letting what was it, Golf Nut or Woodruff and
Golf not get his lap
yeah.
back.
So I'm not sure he didn't run out of gas there. We'll see.
You know what's bad about that too is sometimes when you're really strong, really fast, you stop paying attention to other things. What if fuel does hurt him at the end because he was like, just riding around, not paying
Well,
attention to it as if someone
on
else
that fact,
would.
actually, so Jake may run out of fuel, like you were saying, but he's the only person that could push the issue to make it. Pendle and Bad For You pitted 3 to 4 to 5 laps before he did. So
Oh
if
yeah, yeah.
Jake's close, they're
They're
short.
further away. Yeah, they're further away
Yeah,
than
absolutely. So
Yeah.
they're gonna, if he has to pit, they for sure
Yeah.
had to pit.
They already
So
set it up for him to be in that position.
yeah, the only thing he can do is if he sees them pit, he might as well pit and take that splash of fuel to guarantee himself to the end.
Well,
Well,
like,
no doubt
hey,
he can take 2 tires and still come out ahead.
shoot, like
Yeah,
energy,
yeah.
energy. You said it. It's his race to lose now, and
Mhm.
that's really how I see it. But man, these guys are really spread apart, and it's good to see all these guys getting in here. Woodruff, you've been through some stuff, man. That zero, Golf Nut, you as well. No pit
Jackson
Pendle,
Strong.
MP Roofer. Is MP Roofer on pit road or is he out?
No,
Yeah,
he's lagged out.
Oh, he's lagged out. Shoot.
Actually, he said
Rebel
back
Joker,
down.
we didn't.
Gators is playing.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Hey, there you go. You get some points. Rebel Joker's car. I don't know if he just hasn't gotten into any trouble today or not, but that thing looks really clean. I think he's running his race. He's figuring things out. He's logging laps, and like you said, he's getting that experience in for him. Eternal
Actually,
Rest.
that's a really nice paint scheme too on that Rebel
Yeah,
Joker.
dude.
That's a really nice scheme for
It is.
October.
Yeah, the
I
ally
like
works really well with it.
I think my favorite one on the track though is Eto. I love that
Yeah.
green car.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of upset that he's out, but I like Diesel Chunks' paint scheme. I like that blue with the gray. I thought that was pretty classy
Yeah.
looking.
And now, I think when I actually asked the question, what's your guys' favorite paint schemes Thursday night? And I went ahead and I said that He Gone, that was my favorite, that blue and gray, close to Diesel Chunks.
Yeah, I like Diesel Chunks.
Roofer's paint scheme to me is just, I love that paint scheme. You know, he's out of the race. He's got the same one he ran on Thursday. It's just a nice looking paint scheme.
Yeah, that goldish, color with the black, nice stripes on it.
That car is about as wrecked as what his Gators are about to be here in about an hour and a half.
Ooh. Sorry
Shout
if you're
out to
listening
Roofer.
here, Roofer.
Love you, buddy.
All right, now let's talk about the ugliest paint. No, I'm just kidding. We don't do that here.
Oh no, we do.
that.
We do. No,
Oh,
we're cool.
yeah.
We roast people.
Yeah, no, I think all these cars look good.
Yeah,
I like
they all do
Volks
look
too,
good.
man. That's sweet.
Yeah, there isn't really one that's ugly, man.
Oh,
At all.
There isn't, dude. You never see that.
I think Ed, though, I honestly believe if he had the yellow numbers, that car would remind me of the John Deere 23 back in the day. Who the hell was it that drove that
John
car?
Deere 97?
Or 97, sorry.
Chad Little.
Yep.
Wow. Good
Sorry.
bit of
I don't
knowledge
know where
there.
23 came from, but yeah, the 97. If
I'm a
Alex
Mark
was
Martin
listening,
fan,
he would slap me right in the
and Chad Little
mouth.
was his teammate.
Okay. Good job. I think it's good. He's the only green car there. I know it's October. We're seeing a lot of nice pink, and then there's a lot of black whites. He's got he's got a nice. Edo's got that green in there. It makes me think of what is it, spearmint gum or something?
Oh,
or winter
yeah.
fresh, double mint. I don't
Yeah.
know. Not double mint. I don't know.
I know
of
what
those
you're talking about.
Yeah. But
I want to change my paint scheme up as much as I love it. It is October. It's time to get spooktacular.
Oh, that's cool. See who's got a good Halloween type of theme.
Yeah, we ought to do that for the last week of October. All of our races here in Giggity. We ought to try to get everyone on board with.
I mean, my team colors are already black and orange.
See,
Yeah.
and you guys already got it.
I think mine reminds me of Tony the Tiger when I've got the black and orange. When we were at Daytona, I was like, yeah, Tony the Tiger.
It's great.
It's great.
There's somebody on here I was racing with in the
Thanks,
pub. He had a custom setup. He actually replicated Terry Labonte's Kellogg's car from back in the day, and it
No way.
looked sweet.
All right.
It was really cool. Probably the coolest looking paint scheme I've seen, other than my own, because I'm biased to myself right now.
You should.
But no, that one was really cool. I like that one. That was the best paint scheme I've seen. Most creative. I mean, obviously it's somebody else, but it was creative. It took time to do that. Match the colors up. I took time to do in mine as well. So.
Oh yeah. So it looks like Jake's coming around in the middle of 3 and 4,
Yeah, I'm trying to get a lap count here.
and Bad for You's just exiting 2.
Wow,
Look
he
who's
gone
right on Bad
six.
for You's rear end. Pendle is right there. This battle for the lead, that's gone. Jake's got this. It's his race to lose. But that battle
We're
for
sitting
second,
about 5 laps to go, man, roughly.
Oh man, Bad for
got
You.
loose off. Pendle takes it.
Yeah, he had some traffic in the way, and it could have been worse than it was, but unfortunately, Bad for You.
I want
Lost
to give a
little
big
bit of
shout out to that 31 car right there in front of Pendle.
Heck yeah.
Enoch, you did a lot of broadcasting last season with us for the Xfinity Series, and that's Eternal Rest. Last season, he couldn't finish a race for the life of him.
He couldn't get through 10 laps, man. It sucked.
And so he couldn't make it through 10 laps last season, but he was there every week collecting those points.
I love it.
He's now completed almost 250 laps. Well, maybe 240 something, with laps down. But either way, a 250 lap event, and he's almost completed all of them. And not only that, he's stuck around for all of them.
Yeah.
Great job, man. Way to stick with it.
Yeah, perseverance, man. He's got it. Going back to colors, Robbie's got a cool purple. He must have went to that rainbow thing on the bottom of the colors, that little spectrum where you can kind of get more in depth with the colors. That's a nice looking purple on it.
Yeah, I believe actually he.
yeah, both for you and Eternal just wrecked coming off 4.
Oh no, you got to be kidding me!
They're entering pit lane. It looks like another car. Oh, Jake was almost collected as Eternal was getting back on the track.
Was that him that got
Pendle's
hurt?
going
Holy
slow on the
crap.
inside. Is Pendle out of fuel? He's going very slow on the inside right now.
Yes, he is. I knew there was gonna. It was at the end of the race. That was the end of the race.
No way.
Yep,
That
it
was.
was. So yeah, Jake got first, Jackson Strong in second, Bad for You third, No Pit Pendle fourth, Golf Nut fifth,
But
He
wait,
Gone sixth,
No.
you
Trey
just say no
seventh,
pick up fourth?
No Pit got fourth.
Who got second and third?
Was Ed though up there? Cause I feel like Ed
No,
though.
hold on. It was.
I can't hold on. I need to know. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. I know Robbie's upset. There was only 3 cars on the lead lap.
So Pendle was a lap down when he was racing Bad for You?
Pendle was a lap down.
Wow. Well, now I'm intrigued to know who was the other car on the
Yeah,
lead.
so
Can you
Jackson
imagine if
Strong
that
got
was a
second,
caution?
and
Jackson Strong.
Bad for
Nice.
You got third.
Hell yeah.
Great
See,
run,
sleeper right
Jackson.
there, Jackson.
We hadn't even
Wow.
talked about him.
I mentioned him a couple times. I knew he was, in that first stage, he was up towards the front. Who had the heater? Don't back out. Come on, who had the heater?
Let's see, he gone.
He Gone first had the heater with the
Makes
23.5.
sense. And our winner, 4th fastest. Hey, don't always.
Yeah, a lot of close times there.
Congratulations to Jake, though. He really put on an impressive show. All the other drivers, I
Yep.
can't believe how well that went race, or how well that went. Yeah, I've been talking for a while. My head's all fried, but I can't believe. Yeah, seriously, I can't believe how well that race went. They're so consistent, so strong, so respectful of each other. That was fun to watch. Everyone involved. Again, for those that are still watching, Robbie Vids, his race wasn't so much, but he's got another race to raise some money for charity cause. It's a good cause to help the Goshen Children's Hospital. The G.O.S.H. It's a children's hospital. They do a lot.
Bad
We've
for You,
got.
there's stuff on Always Alive.
And yeah, so look up Robbie Vids. Take a look at his charity he's got going on for the hospital.
Bad for You is your party setting set to Always Alive.
Bad for You.
Are you on Always Alive? Yeah, we're gonna need that probably. I don't think we're allowed to say that.
We'll let it pass.
Yo, hey, so bad for you. Did you change that yet?
Yes, sir. I'm on now.
Dude,
What's up,
there's
buddy?
that one restart. I thought you were gonna have him. What do you think you needed to do to get around Jake there?
I had nothing. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. He was gone that whole race.
Yeah, we seen you running that low line, and then once you were behind him, we watched you move up the track,
Yeah,
run
I
his
thought
line, got
maybe
to
he
him
had
for a
something.
few laps.
Yeah, I thought maybe he had something figured out for them tires, so I just followed him up there, and yeah, I was on his bumper for a while there.
Yeah. Well, hey, pretty car that you made. I gotta say that.
Oh, I appreciate
It was nice watching your race, and I thought you did a good job. Good job with that
That was
finish.
fun.
Even if you did get around him, do you think you could have held it?
No, I
Nah,
really don't.
he had a good long
I
run.
was down to 1% on that last lap on my right rear.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, dude. Good job timing
But-
that then.
But to finish third, hey, that was great. I loved it.
Really good job.
Appreciate it.
A lot of green flag racing tonight. Were you expecting that? I mean, how many pit stops were you expecting? I mean, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people were hoping for at least one caution there in the third stage, and it just never happened.
Honestly, I was not hoping for a caution.
No, you were
No.
content with the third place, just knowing where you were at.
I really was, because I didn't think I had anything for Jake. Jackson I might have, but I don't think I had anything for Jake. He's a really good racer. Good win.
Yes, he is. Well, you know what? Go visit your toilet if you got to go. We'll let you do your thing. I'm sure I'll catch you later on tonight.
Sounds great, man. Appreciate it. Had fun.
Yep, good job.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for putting on a good show. That was great. So, yeah, that was bad for you. Fast race car driver, and he's going to go do something that you might say a racehorse goes and does too.
Yeah, I don't have one of those race suits on, so.
But yeah, that was great. I can't believe how it went green. I'm gonna say it again. Yeah, just minimal,
What's
minimal
up,
yellow flags.
fellas?
What's going on?
Hey, Jackson, man, amazing run. You seem like a sleeper card tonight. What do you think you did that gave you that nice little finishing position there?
I don't know, man. I think I just set it up for the long run. The car was super loose in practice, and I knew that the tires would fall off entirely too fast. So I just tightened it up that first stop. Got in a wreck, got a lap down.
Hey,
So the first,
real quick, guys, I gotta go. I'm cooking dinner.
All right, man.
Thank you for
Yeah, don't let
finishing
it
this.
burn. Yeah.
have a good night, man. But first stage was no good, but got a couple of cautions, got the lucky dog, and just long run car man was able to pick him off and had a run at Jake there at the end, but he was too fast.
He definitely had something going, and I actually had mentioned at one point, you know, at the beginning of the race, I seen you run up front in that first stage, and then I seen you get mangled in a wreck, and I was sitting there watching your car. I'm like, this dude has a lot of damage. And then you were on pit road there for a while. Did you go lap down in the first or second stage at one point?
Yeah, I ended the first stage a lap down. I'm pretty sure I got 16th, the dead last the first stage. So, but there was a caution that happened right after we started the second stage. I got the dog,
Yep.
and from there it was just trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, we knew you had a fast car, and I guess thankfully the caution came out when it did, because after that there wasn't any more. So
yeah,
I
yeah, it
mean,
was a lot
that
of cars
had to
let
be
down.
that had to be long. Them last two stages had to be pretty
It's
pretty
just
exhilarating.
Yeah, it's just a finesse track, man. You got to hit your spots. Jake did an
Yeah.
outstanding job up on the top. My car was too tight to run up there, so I had to run the bottom, and I knew it wasn't going to last. So I think Jake's in here right now, man. I think he
Hey,
got a penalty that last pit stop, and I think that was probably my fault. You slowed down to go into the pits, and I
Yeah,
got into
yeah,
the
we
back
seen
of
that.
you. So I felt really bad about that. And then after it all cycled back around, I had like a 4 second lead, and I knew it was just a matter of time before.
He got
Before,
back around.
yeah, it was just a matter of time, man.
it's all good. It was a good race.
Yeah, it was an awesome race.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Well,
I got to say, Jackson, that you said it right there before with just, running for a long run. You did a good job, and you said staying out of trouble. You did that. You got a good finish. Congrats on that,
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate it, guys. Jake, congratulations, man. Have a good night, fellas.
hey,
You
take it
too.
easy,
Thank
man.
you.
Good race.
Thank you.
Hey, Jake, that was impressive, man. You put on a clinic right there, and it's funny, kind of early on you weren't there, and then all of a sudden you get the lead, you get that high line, and you're out. Um, I'm gonna ask you, when did you know you had the race won?
Oh,
Or when did you feel
that's
confident that you were going to win the race? Not necessarily that you had the race won, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, the last lap," because you never know what could happen. But when did you get that confidence? When did you feel that?
pretty much. I, I don't know. As soon as I took the lead for the first time and I saw how long it took for me to pull away, I think right about within the somewhere in the first stage, I felt really confident. I didn't change anything until that first caution, and then after that, I kept the car the same. I never ran the bottom. I stayed at the
Oh, we
top.
noticed.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
Yeah.
noticed.
I knew you were
Uh,
gonna. I knew you were gonna work that. We talked about it, and yeah, you had a car that was hooked up for that line. And then one thing I noticed, and I have to ask, did you run out of fuel at the end of the first stage?
I did. I did.
Okay.
I risked it, and it was weird because the moment it turned to zero, normally you get like a couple seconds
Yeah.
before it actually sputters. But for me, I'd have to go back and watch it again. But I swear it turned to zero, and then boom, it started sputtering right away. So,
Because we seen
yeah.
Robbie and Woodruff battling in front of you, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, is he letting Robbie stay on the lead lap and just letting these two guys go at it?
Yeah, yeah, I
Right,
Or
did
right,
what
that.
was
right.
going on?
I had a big lead to second place. I think at the time it was bad for you, and I had at least a 5, 6 second gap. So to kind of help my teammates stay on the lead lap, I just rode behind them, and then I gave
And you were
Golf
saving
Nut.
fuel.
No, well, I guess I was saving field, but the purpose was just to stay behind him, and
Right.
because Golf Nut raced me pretty clean there, I let him also get
Have
his
his
lap
lap.
back. Yeah, and then it paid off later because when I got back to him again, he just let me go by, and I think I made a nice friend out there today. So
Yeah.
I love
We,
what you just mentioned there, man. You were fast, but you're also smart. You're thinking about things like that. That's good. I like
and
that.
it
we
helps.
mentioned that
Oh,
I mean, I think as soon as that stage was ending, I'm like, either he ran out of gas or, he, just wanted to, make a friend out here, gain some respect. We said it was professional. It was really cool to see you do that. Either
Yeah.
way, running out of gas or not, I think probably when it came down to it, even if you had a lap left, you probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of sportsmanship here and there
Yeah,
helps
never
the
never hurts.
racing. And like I said, I had a big gap, so I was able to kind of take it easy and relax. That was the only time I was able to relax because I think after that third stage there, Jackson stayed behind me for quite a while, and I wasn't really pulling away at first, and I knew he had a very fast car, and he did bump me going into pit road that last stop, and that scared me. I was like, no way. Oh, I led like out of 250, I must have led 200 laps easy, and I thought it was all gonna go out the window there. But I noticed each of those pit stops in the final stage, I kept going 2 laps further, and I knew right then and there, I was in position. As long as the caution didn't come out, I knew I was gonna win the race right then and there.
yeah,
That
that
was
that
with
could
about
have been a
60 to
scary
go.
moment, but you did a great job holding it on there.
Hell of
You
a
know, you had
job.
a huge gap, nice cushion for you. You did an amazing job on the outside line, man. I must say,
Thank you.
and very nice job. Congrats. And
I
I know
tried.
I've seen you
Thank
in,
you.
I've seen, I
Thank
was
you.
saying during the broadcast, I've seen you in lobbies, and I'm like, who's this guy? I don't know that name. Then you're killing it. You know, you're doing a great job. So I'm happy for you, and I'm happy to hear that you're a smart guy too, and you think of a lot of things rather than just having raw speed. So good job, bud.
Yeah, thanks, man. I
Hell yeah.
appreciate it. That's I think that's three in a row for the Saturday night. I think it was Gateway, Homestead, and then now here. So I mean, NOCO Racing, all of us are on top of it this season. So I'm glad to be part of this team, and big thanks to my teammates for helping me out, and we help each other out, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Robbie was a big sport today, doing his charity and all that, and he raced me super clean. Everyone
Yeah.
raced great.
I
Even the
I,
lap
I agree.
cars trying to stay on the lead lap. I noticed a couple of them were fighting
Couple of
me.
them tried to. Yep, I
Yep,
seen
yep.
that.
And I was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, that's understandable. You got to do what you got to
Respectable.
do, and we kept it clean. Everyone did a great job. And I told
Yeah,
them
I
last
agree.
week, go for a stable car. It's that's what I did. I didn't have the fastest car for the first 10 laps, but it lasted so long. What a great car. I'm just happy to be in victory lane again. Woo! Now I can go and celebrate with the team, and I can sleep easy tonight. That's for sure.
Well, you
Well, I'm
definitely
drinking beer
deserved it.
for you.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, thank
Just in
you. Have a
case
smoke, have a
NRG
beer.
wasn't. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you deserved that win. I thought you did a great job. Good job keeping it clean. Good job around the other drivers, and the other drivers. Good job around each other too. I had a lot of fun watching that race and calling that with the NRG. But hey,
Yep, same.
I gotta say, Jake, man, you enjoy your night, dude. Thank you so much for joining us and talking, and thanks for putting on a good show.
Thank you.
So.
I can't wait to go watch the broadcast now, just to
Oh,
see.
good. Yeah.
I'll
At
definitely be
minute
going right now.
42, don't listen. You're not gonna like what we say about you. Just don't listen at minute 42. No, I'm kidding.
Minute 42, got it.
42. Yep. No, just kidding. But
Uh,
yeah, you go enjoy, and thanks for putting on a good show for everyone.
well, thank
Hey,
you
good
very
job,
much,
Mike.
and you guys have a good night. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Thanks.
Take it easy, Jake.
It's so NRG. I feel like a lot of stuff happened. We talked about a lot. We covered pretty much every ground during
Yeah.
that race. That was good. I was really impressed with how well everyone raced around each other, and I want to see if people start. If I want to see what next week's gonna bring. If these same drivers come out and they're like, all right, I didn't put enough effort into Iowa. I got to pay attention now. That's what I'm gonna be looking for to see if anyone really puts in a huge effort to kind of find that kind of speed because dude, Jake was out.
Somebody's got to find it. I
Someone
mean,
will, man.
he said he that's three in a row on a Saturday night. Somebody's got to find speed somewhere.
Yeah.
He mentioned how we were team oriented over on Team NoCo, and it's very team oriented.
Hmm.
Um, I know, unfortunately for Robbie, he had a rough race tonight on Team NoCo, but um, we got to get to a track that I think he's put the work in at every race that he's been a part of, and he's just collectively gotten involved in so much stuff. Eventually, he's going to be running up there with his teammates and contending for wins. And there's so many guys in that field that are going to be contending for wins if they put in the work.
That's true.
So that is exactly what they need to do. Thursday night, I forget where these guys are, but it's pretty much the same field Thursday night. We're going to do it all over again, and hopefully between now and then, there's a lot of time. These guys got to put in the work to keep up with Jake and just Team NoCo in general on the Xfinity side. Obviously, Pendle and Jake both have been running up front for a majority of the last couple races. Thursday night, Jake ended up getting second or third. Pendle ended up finishing in the back, but they were both running up front most of the race, and then field strategy came in at the very end. Tonight, different story. It was strategy the entire second, the entire third stage. No cautions. Loved it. Loved seeing the green flag pit stops. It's hard to keep track of who's where. I wish there was a ticker on the spectator mode, but we do with what we got, and it was fun to watch. Had a hell of a time talking to you again. It's been a while.
Yeah,
and
man, it has.
I'll go ahead, and Taddy as well, and we'll go ahead and let you take this away here.
All right, yeah, man. It really has been a great night, and thinking about the future, yeah, these teams, they're all going to work together. It's the beginning of the season, no fret just yet. And that was a great night of racing. Remember, guys, um, this was this was a big deal for Robbie Vids, man. He's working hard, just as he worked hard in that race to
Donate.
keep it going. Yeah, man, donate and share for his charity for G.O.S.H. It's the Great Ormond Street Hospital. It's a children's a charity that he's doing. They helped him out with his daughter. They love kids and they do what they can to help them be strong. And he wants to show his appreciation to them and would like would like everyone to at least hear his story. So check us out on Facebook. Check out Giggity Racing League. Check out Robbie Vid's YouTube. It's fun watching him too, 'cause he's got a little thing of himself. That's pretty sweet. He's all the way in the UK. But yeah, and on that note, after all that good racing, again, NRG is really fun watching and
Absolutely.
talking to you about it. That was a good time. And everyone that watched, if anyone is still watching, I'm sure you are, because NRG just got the sexiest voice in NASCAR, man.
Hmm.
They get it, bro.
Hey, you
But
won't hear my voice tomorrow night. I'll be on the track tomorrow night here, Giggity, with the Elite Racing Series, our Cup Series. Tomorrow night we got 250% races. Going to be 250 laps at Bristol, which will be custom setups. The first race tomorrow night, so it is, but it's at Texas. That will be default, and that's going to be pretty much replicating what we've seen Saturday night. So
I can't wait to see to try and figure out who's on the lead lap at Bristol for that whole
oh
time.
yeah,
That's gonna be a
are you
pain in
gonna
the
be here
butt.
tomorrow?
I'm gonna try to be. Yeah, I should be. I don't. I, yeah, I should be. But yeah, it's always fun watching Giggity Racing. All these guys running. Good luck tomorrow night, sir.
I
I'll
appreciate it.
be silently rooting for you. But yeah, I think on that note, let everyone go.
Yep.
Itching to get out there. So everyone, you enjoy your Saturday night. Thanks for tuning in to Giggity Racing League's uh, race for Ghost Charity. And we hope you have a good night, and we'll see you on the track.
Cheers.
Cheers. See ya.